Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Edward Joseph, and let's talk live. ICE raids. All right, let's talk. Well, today, peoples, has been such an interesting day. I'm here, I am live, and I am going to talk about some things, peoples. Peoples, ICE raids. You guys come on in. You guys come on in. You guys come on in, for there's so much to talk about, peoples. You guys come on in. Peoples, I have never thought that I will ever see something like this in my lifetime. I never thought that I would ever see something like this in my lifetime, but it is happening as I speak. It is happening, peoples, as I speak. I never thought that I would ever see this in my lifetime. Now, I have seen it. I have seen on a smaller scale different things, but never up on this level. I've never seen it up on this level like this, peoples. And this is absolutely crazy. I mean, absolutely crazy. Now, I get it, peoples. Everybody wants a slice of the American pie. I get it. Everybody wants a slice of the American pie, but see, sometimes the American pie doesn't want to share. It doesn't want to share people's, and even when the people who was here, the American pie doesn't want to share. I get it. I get it. I get everybody's stance and things, but see, the thing is, people's, and I've always been a strong supporter of this. You know, you have to do things legally. You have to. If we have to abide by the law, then you have to abide by the law. Everybody has to abide by the law. Everybody has laws that they have to abide by. It doesn't matter what situation that you find yourself in, you have to abide by the law. That's why we have laws. That's why we have laws. That's why we have laws on the books. And everybody has to abide by it. It doesn't matter what your situation may be, you still have to abide by the law. Why? Because it is the law. That's what they call it, law. That's what they call it, law. And they call it law for a reason, because everybody has to abide by it. It doesn't matter who you are. You may not like the laws. I don't particularly like the laws and stuff, but I have to abide by it. I said I have to abide by the law. And that is the law of the land. And it doesn't matter what president is in office, it's still the law. And the thing is, peoples, just because we are deemed the nation of milk and honey doesn't mean that you can come over here and be funny. No. Now I get it. I get it. You came over and you came over illegally. I get it. You came over and you came over illegally. But see, the thing is, because you came over illegally and you did not come legally, well, then there is a problem. Now, my heart goes out to you, because I do understand over in your country, over in your land, and things is not working out. People are getting murdered and, so on and so forth. Okay, I get it. Listen, people, my heart is full of compassion. It is. It is full of compassion. It's full of compassion for the people who wants to come and partake in this land of milk and honey, who wants to make a better life and things. But then again, there is laws that we have, and if we have to abide by the law, then you have to abide by the law. It doesn't matter if you came over illegally and you've been over here for 10 years. Well, you've been over here for 10 years illegally. And so while you've been over here for all of that time, well, then, you should have applied for the status of becoming a citizen and things. And I get it. The law doesn't necessarily paint a rosy picture for you. It's not a great path to try to, come down and whatnot and try to do the right thing. And even if you're doing the right thing, you still may be subject to deportation. But that is okay, because the thing is, it is the law. It is the law. And if we are out here and we're driving on the road and we don't have no driver's license and stuff, and the people come and they put on their flashers and pull us over, present your driver's license, present your insurance, and present your proof of registration. And if you don't have one of the three, well, then you're subject to a ticket. And then if you don't have one of the three, and then some cases, depending on how strict and stringent the law is, you're subject to arrest. That's just the law. In California, if you're driving without a driver's license, you are subject to arrest. In California, if you're driving without a car insurance, you are subject to arrest. That's in California. I don't know where it is in any of your states, but that is in California. You are subject to arrest. And so you have to present your credentials if you're going to drive in the state of California and you're going to be on the road. Now, peoples, come to find out that the person who had hit me was illegal. Driving on the road, going over 100 miles per hour, and slammed literally right behind me and my son while we were driving. And he didn't stay around to say, hey, are you okay? I got a picture of him. The police, they finally came and towed this car and stuff. And, they did all of that things and whatnot, and coming out that the guy was illegal. So we had to go through all of this hurt and pain and things because the guy decided to be on the road and drive crazy because he was illegal. It was an illegal alien that had came to California to drive a car and drive recklessly, and then ended up destroying my mother's vehicle because I was inherited. I inherit that vehicle. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so he broke the law. He broke the law by first driving on the road without a license. He broke the law by driving that fast. He broke the law by getting into an accident and then running away. He broke the law. And so what me and my son is supposed to do? Because he broke the law. And so this is what we are, peoples. ICE raids, and the people are protesting. And it's going to get worse on tonight. It's going to get worse, peoples. And this is happening all over California. This is just not happening out there in Palm Springs. This is happening all over California. And see, my question is simply this to you. Although my heart goes out to these people, what do you do when the people break the law? Okay. Question is simple. What is it that you do when the people break the law? What is it that you do? That is the question for today, peoples. And we're going to check in and we're going to watch this video, peoples. But I see my peoples that came in. So let me give a shout out. Hello, little Bo Peep. How are you, ma'am? It is a blessing to see you on today. Little Bo Peep says blessings to all and hoping everyone is enjoying their weekend. And thank you, Little Bo Peep, for the blessings. I love it when the people come and bless the channel. I love it. I love it when the people come and sends their blessings to everybody. And peoples, I am enjoying my weekend. I sure am. I don't know about you. I'm sitting back and I'm drinking some cold water. And I'm about to make me a snow cone in a moment. But I'm sitting back, I'm relaxing, and I am enjoying my time. And I see Miss Caps Lee came in. Hello, Miss Caps Lee. How are you, ma'am? It is a blessing to see you on today. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Miss Cap Lee came with that beautiful picture. Man, rock it, lady, rock it. I tell you, Miss Caps Lee said, good evening. Oh, my God, Miss Caps Lee, man, you come on and rocking that picture, boy. I'm telling you, I got me some beautiful people that comes on in. Beautiful peoples. All right, peoples. Let's get in here and let's watch the raid of iCE. iCE raids peoples. iCE raids.
We want to head back to that breaking news of iCE raids happening in several locations across LA.
Let's get up to Rich Prickett. He's overhead one of those locations in downtown Los Angeles, the Fashion District. Rich?
Yeah, Glenn and Kareem, we are back in the Fashion District. This is the Ambiance Apparel store where the FBI, Homeland Security, and iCE agents have been performed a raid a couple of hours ago, and they were inside for quite some time, and we're just now seeing some people that are being detained, being brought out from the facility here.
Okay, people, you guys hold on for a moment. I'm going to have to look at something here. YouTube wants to do a thing over. So I didn't approve it yet, but let me see. Let me rewind that again because it's frozen.
We want to head back to that breaking news of iCE raids happening in several locations across LA.
Let's get up to Rich Prickett. He's overhead one of those locations in downtown Los Angeles, the Fashion District. Rich?
Let's see how that.
Yeah, Glenn and Kareem, we are back in the Fashion District. This is the Ambiance Apparel store where the FBI, Homeland Security, and iCE agents have been performed a raid a couple of hours ago, and they were inside for quite some time, and we're just now seeing some people that are being detained, being brought out from the facility here. About a couple dozen people that are now being taken into custody. Now the FBI had brought in some reinforcements to help with the crowd control that had started to surround the building earlier on, and there was quite a scuffle, as a matter of fact, as they were trying to make room for these vans to make their way into the parking lot, where they are now detaining several people from the Ambiance Apparel store here in the Fashion District.
So here,
some of that crowd that still remains to the rear of the.
All right, so I'm not gonna do it like this and stuff. I'm not gonna do it like this. So let me restart it again, and let me do it normal way. I'm just gonna tell YouTube, no, don't do it that way. It was okay, but I don't like it that way. All right, so let me share it this way again. Let me repeat it and let me go.
We want to head back to that breaking news of iCE raids happening in several locations across LA.
Let's get up to Rich Prickett. He's overhead one of those locations in downtown Los Angeles, the Fashion District. Rich?
Yeah, Glenn and Kareem, we are back in the Fashion District. This is the Ambiance Apparel store where the FBI, Homeland Security, and ICE agents have been performed a raid a couple of hours ago, and they were inside for quite some time. And we're just now seeing some people that are being detained, being brought out from the facility here. About a couple dozen people that are now being taken into custody. Now, the FBI had brought in some reinforcements to help with the crowd control that had started to surround the building earlier on, and there was quite a scuffle, as a matter of fact, as they were trying to make room for these vans to make their way into the parking lot, where they are now detaining several people from the Ambiance Apparel store here in the Fashion District. And you see some of that crowd that still remains to the rear of the facility with all the FBI agents and a couple of the Bearcats that arrived here. So they did need to bring in some backup here to help with the crowd control so that they can bring in these vans. Now we're seeing a couple people being detained. This is one of a few raids we have seen early this morning, and two locations in regards to this particular company, Ambiance. Live in Sky 5 and Rich Prickett. Send it back to you.
All right, Rich, just want to point out what you see earlier. This is what took place in the Westlake District. That was this morning. That was another raid, and now we've got this separate raid taking place in the Fashion District.
And Rich, we don't know the exact nature of these raids, but during the last hour, I believe, we saw some sort of scuffle taking place in the streets. Not sure if they were activists, but they were people on the ground, and they were using their bodies to obstruct vehicles that were actually driving by. So we've had some close calls here.
Yeah, we certainly have. This is what we saw earlier was over in the South LA area that was believed to be the headquarters or distribution center for this apparel company. We saw agents that were bringing out computers from the business. We saw at least two people being detained, one person that was being taken away in an ambulance that was on a stretcher. And as DEA and federal agents were trying to leave the parking lot of that facility, people were running into the street trying to block the vehicles from leaving, nearly being ran over as they were trying to block the cars. Now we're back over here in the Fashion District, where we are also seeing a large crowd. As a matter of fact, a larger crowd, and that's where they needed to bring in more agents here from the FBI to help with removing them from the gate. And we did see a scuffle. They were not very happy with the agents here, and whatever whatever the raid is in regards to, we just don't know at this point if it's strictly immigration related or if there's some other reason why they are taking all these people into custody. But we are seeing at least 24 people taken from this location alone.
Okay, just to let everybody know, LA Police Chief Jim McDonald released a statement which reads in part today, the LAPD did become aware that ICE was conducting operations in the city of Los Angeles. I'm aware that these actions cause anxiety for many Angelenos, so I want to make it clear the LAPD not involved in the civil immigration enforcement. While the LAPD will continue to have a visible presence in all of our communities to ensure public safety, we will not assist or participate in any sort of mass deportations, nor will the LAPD try to determine an individual's immigration status. That has been the policy here in the city of Los Angeles since 1979, as the chief pointed out.
And while we don't know the exact nature of these raids, we do know that this is part of perhaps immigration crackdowns that have been happening all across the country, various communities. Again, we have been covering operations from early this morning in the Westlake District. Now two separate locations in downtown Los Angeles that we've been keeping our eyes on, the Fashion District and also 16th Street. Rich, this location that we're looking at right now, does it appear that the crowds are getting larger on the streets surrounding all of this activity, which begs the question, will there be more of a law enforcement presence there as the day progresses?
Well, we did see the crowd grow over the past couple of hours. The people that are here now it likely won't get much bigger than what it is right now, as this is starting to wind down the operation. So what they're going to do is just try and keep people clear from that gate. We should see these vans roll out here any moment, and then once that happens, the agents will leave as well, and there won't be much to see here. But most of the crowd was at the front of the business earlier on, where they could see inside the window while the raid was happening, and then everybody started to move towards the rear of the store here, where they were starting to bring out some of those people that they have detained, and that's where the additional agents had arrived. You can see some of those here, some of those agents with the Bearcats, and still continuing. They put up that yellow tape to try and keep people away from the gate here. And again, we should see these white vans that are holding a couple dozen people that were just detained from the Ambiance Apparel Company here in the Fashion District.
Well, as you can see there, the gate is open. Again, it looks like 2 vans, as Rich pointed out, and the crime scene tape or the security tape is up, and they have cleared a path, but it'll be interesting to see if that path remains clear once the vans start moving out of that parking lot.
And how do things look, Rich,
Yeah,
if you're able to pull out just a bit to see, is it also congested to the top of the screen? I'm just trying to see once they leave that area, what it will be like as they try to make their way out there.
Yeah, we are seeing some congestion on the streets, as you can imagine, downtown, the Fashion District, usually always a busy thoroughfare down here. But for the most part, I think they'll make their way out of here just fine. It's just a matter of whether the crowd is going to cooperate with agents as they try to make their way through the gates. But there is certainly a large presence here from the FBI here to assist. Now, at the other location, we did see we saw agents, but then also the LAPD that came in and set up a skirmish line to help with crowd control to make sure that try and keep things at bay there in the south in South LA. But here we are not seeing the LAPD. It is all federal agents from what we can see, as well as the Homeland Security investigators that were part of the initial raid here at the apparel company. And we are seeing some of them go back inside, and we're still on standby here to see when these vans are going to be moving out. But they look to be ready to move out of the parking lot here at any time, and they're just trying to keep the pathway clear. But for the most part, what you're seeing right here, as far as the crowd, this is what we're seeing. Everyone's kind of moved to the rear of the building. They're no longer at the front of the building like they were before, watching the operation happen inside. And here comes the white vans now. So we'll see if they can manage to keep the pathway clear, and they'll make their way up to the main boulevard here. This is on Stanford Ave between 9th and 10th Streets. And where they're taking these detainees, we just don't know at this point. And we're awaiting some sort of word from the FBI as to what these raids were in regards to. But we do know that it looked to be about 24 people were taken away and inside of those vans. You know, one other thing that we saw when these additional FBI agents had arrived to help with the crowd control, we did see a scuffle. They did have some shields. They were trying to move them out of the way. We saw them use what looked to be some sort of a canister, like a gas canister of some sort, to try and help move the crowd. And that did actually disperse some of the people from the gate. And here they are now standing guard, keeping them back as these vehicles are making their way through. There's still agents inside, and Homeland Security investigators that are still inside the building. Whether or not they're still trying to collect evidence, not entirely sure. But now here goes 3 vehicles from the parking lot with those people that were detained from the business just moments ago. And here comes the crowd. They are trying to move with the vehicles down up the street here, up Stanford. And they are being escorted here by the tactical vehicle. You can see some of that, a puff of that white smoke there. That's something they were using for crowd control, I believe, from the FBI agents. I did not see any of the civilians actually throwing canisters, but as soon as they arrived to try and move the crowd from the gate is when we started seeing some sort of smoke to help try and keep those people from the gate here. Okay, so here we are. We're in the middle of the street here. You can see one person trying to stand right in front of this SUV here, but it's just such a dangerous situation here. And it's really not going to do him any good to be standing there and possibly get ran over by agents. So here they are. They're on 9th Street now. The crowd is running alongside with these vehicles. And I'd pretty much guarantee that this SUV is not going to stop. Someone throwing, looks like,
wow.
All right, let me widen out here. Okay, so we saw some eggs being thrown at the vehicle. Now he is just, partly ran over by that SUV.
Well, we do see that person getting up.
Oh, it looks like a bicycle was also struck in the crosswalk here. It's just a dangerous situation. It doesn't, not really going to prevent them from leaving, but now we have a whole other situation here. and we'll see if the fire department has to make their way over here for this person. And here it looks like he's on the ground here. Okay, so we can push in here. It looks like he is moving around. He's actually on his knees here, so he didn't go completely under the car, but it's a scary moment there as he was partly ran over by that white SUV that was trying to leave, and spectators that were throwing things at the SUV. It looked like some eggs. And so, all right, so it looks okay. So he's on his feet here. He's putting his shoes on.
You know, Rich, you hate to see that, but that's what happens when you take on a moving vehicle. And we see the crowds on the ground there. We do know that there were some activists out. In fact, we saw earlier them holding signs, but we don't know exactly who's in this crowd, if it's activists, family members who are there, obviously members of the media on the ground. But yeah, lots of folks there trying to stop all that activity.
Yeah, there was a lot of people here. Yeah, here's the front of the store now. So only a couple people remain, but there was a large crowd up here at the front of the apparel company here, looking inside of the business, watching the raid happening from the outside in, and then the crowd eventually made its way towards the back, where we're seeing the crowd still remains here. Agents still at the location, so they're still going to be working to make their way out off of Stanford Street with this large crowd that's here. But the people that were detained have been taken away, and they are off to wherever whatever facility they're going to take them. We just don't know at this point. But and again, we're still awaiting information from Homeland Security as well as the FBI as to what the raid is in regards. You can see a computer that's being confiscated there by agents. This is one of two locations in regards to this company that we have seen raided within the last couple of hours here, in addition to the raid that we saw at Home Depot early this morning. And agents could see these agents here leave within the next or very shortly here, but they are collecting additional evidence that they will need for their investigation. And I'm looking up and down the boulevards here as I look out the window. Forgive me here for just a second here. And I do see that the vans and that SUV have made their way out of the area without any other incident.
Okay, people, so let me interject here for a moment. Now, on YouTube, I don't like it when I'm trying to look up something else and then you messes up and you freeze the screen. I don't like this new thing that YouTube is trying to implement and stuff, and they're trying to force it upon you. But, you know, we're going to get through it, people. So let me give my little 2 cents in and stuff, because, you know, I'm sure that many people is going to have some feelings about this and whatnot. And it's simply this, people. It's simply this. You know. Now, I get it. I totally get it. I totally get it, peoples. I totally get it when different ones is coming to the United States of America. I get it. And I get it that everybody wants to try to eke out, you know, something within this land and whatnot. And I get it that, you know, in places where you live and stuff may not be tolerable and things and stuff. But at the end of the day, it doesn't give them the right to just bogart into the United States of America and say, well, you must take care of us, you know, or you must do X, Y, and Z. Now, I get it for the people, you know, who is under duress and, you know, under a lot of things from their own country and stuff. I get it. Okay. But the majority of them is not like that. And the majority of them is coming over to come into the cities, the states, the towns, or, you know, whatever. And they don't want to do things the right way. I get that too. And then some just come over here to wreak havoc. So I do get and understand all three levels. You know, some It's really are seeking to save their lives. Some is just coming over here just to try to prosper and to, or try to blend into the economy and things, and wants to make something better for themselves, and then some just wants to wreak havoc. So this is a very sensitive topic, people, to come and talk about, because I get and I understand all three, but then on the same token, we do have laws on the books. We do have laws on the books. Now, you don't see people flocking to Hawaii. You don't see people flocking to the Caribbean islands. You don't see people flocking to all of these tourist destinations and things. And when we come, we have to spend our money, and we come to enjoy the beaches and the land and things like this. But most importantly, when we come and we obey the laws of the land. We come and we obey the laws of the land. But when we come fruitful. We come very fruitful. We come, we spend our money, we are tourists. We take, we look around and obey the laws and do things that is proper and stuff, so we don't get ourselves in trouble and we don't earn ourselves, locked into some foreign land or whatever. That's when we come. But when many people come, this is what you get. Now, see, ICE can go and gather up a whole lot of people to try to figure out their status. And if they're here illegally, well, then, okay, well, we got you. Now you got to go. Now you got to go. Yeah, you have rights, and you have rights to due process, but then also, if we have to follow the law, well, then you have to follow the law as well. Do you understand what I'm saying? So whether you're here legally or illegally, everybody has to follow the law. That's the whole purpose of laws. Everybody must follow them. And when you break the law, well, then what do you do when the people break the law? What is it that you do? Do we give people a pass for breaking the laws? Or do we just say, okay, you broke the law, but nothing is going to happen? So what is it that you do, peoples? What is it that you do when people come and break the law? And breaking the law is coming, and you're not here legally. That's breaking the law. No matter how you look at it, no matter who's president, no matter what your feelings and things may be, it is called breaking the law. And so how do we treat the people who break the law? What do we do when the people come and break the law? What is it that what is the consequences behind breaking the law? That's the thing that I want to ask the people. That's the thing I want to ask the people. What is it that the people should do when people break the law? That is the question. Nobody's answering. Nobody has the response to people breaking the law. I know people don't want to hear about it. I know this is one of those lives that not too many people really want to watch, because it's not something that is pleasing to the eye. It's hurtful and painful to see these people be treated in the manner to which they do. I get it. But at the end of the day, set feelings aside, if you have to follow the law, well, then everybody else has to follow the law. So what is it that you do when people break the law? What is it that you do? Now, are you going to let somebody just come and just walk into your house and make a sandwich and stuff and sit down at your table and eat and drink all of your sodas and stuff? No, what are you going to do? You're going to get them out, right? What are you doing in my house? I didn't invite you in. Nobody ever said that you can walk into my house, sit down at my table, open up my refrigerator, make you a sandwich, and then drink up all of my sodas. You know, if anybody off the streets was just to walk into your house, walk into your refrigerator, make a sandwich, and then go up in there and get it and drink all of your sodas, would you be mad? Would you be mad? The first thing you'd be asking is, why are you here? Why are you here? And then your blood will be boiling and stuff, and then the next thing you do, you go and get something to try to get them out, right? Well, this is what this is. Just think about this is your house. And that the people was coming over and they're making sandwiches. They're taking funding from your children out of your children's mouths, out of your mouth, out of your pocket and things, you know? I mean, it's your tax dollars that's being used to help another. Now, if you don't mind that, well, hey, you know, I mean, I don't mind helping the people, but see, the thing is, the people have to learn how to help themselves. And one of the things that the people need to do is the people in their own country needs to vote to get these other people who's keeping them oppressed out. So they need to be out on the streets and revolting and doing everything that they need to do to get these people out of office to make their lives not a living nightmare. So the same thing that they're doing to try to prevent the people from coming out and being deported, well, they should be over there in their own country and doing the same thing and get these corrupt politicians out. But why don't they do that? Because America has been to the degree to where we have been passive aggressive. We have literally allowed people of all walks of the nation to walk in and just wreak havoc with the medical system, with the aid system, with everything and stuff. And so America is going broke because the people, not some is paying taxes. I'm not talking about the ones who's paying taxes because they're giving back. You know, that's a beautiful thing. But the majority of the people is not paying taxes, and they are flooding the system, and the system can't take it. The system can't take it. And so it is your tax dollars that is going to help the people who's not trying to help you. How do you feel about that? So what do? You do the same thing as everybody else. Sit on your tush, sit and complain all day long about, well, the food is going up, the gas is going up, the medical is going up, all of my bills is going up. But you're not going to do nothing about it. All you're going to do is just sit and complain. And you're allowing a few people in government to run your business, to run your life. See, you do that. Everybody is complacent. Everybody has a complaint, but y'all figured that, well, why should I complain? Because ain't nothing going to happen. That's exactly my point. Because you want things too goddamn easy. You don't want to be a part of the system that is going to fight back and try to make your life a nice living life. You would rather allow somebody else to do it and sit your tush back there and complain all the day long by the way that you're living and how you're living and what you got and all like this and stuff. And you figure that your little voice ain't going to rise to nothing. But see, if everybody in America feels that way, well, then this is what we're going to get, peoples. This is exactly what we're going to get right here. Everybody in America got a complaint about something. You know, not everybody is fortunate. The Bible tells us that the poor is always going to be among us. If I was to go ahead and do a live, peoples, and show you the amount of people who are homeless, who had a job at one point and now living on the cusp of society, and society turned their back, all because they've been working for 30, 40, 50 years, contributing to the system. And then at the time of their golden years, when they need it the most, the system turns their back and give it to somebody else. So for the people who's out on the streets, who's homeless, been working 30, 40, 50 years, and all of their spoils and everything is going for people who's walking in and ain't contributing to the system. And so now the system is broken. And so now they're trying to correct the system, but yet you sit back and complain and get mad because the system is doing only what the system is supposed to do. Try to get you off the streets, get you some housing and stuff, and get some food and give you some dignity, and get the people who's not contributing out. But yet you get mad behind that. So everybody wants somebody else to do the job, but all you do is sit and crack open your can of Pepsi and Coca-Cola and stuff your face to whatever level you're living at, and then sit back and complain. So then my question becomes, do you have the right to complain? Yeah, I got the right to complain because I was born in the United States and blah, 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 and blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. Okay. That's valid. That's valid. All right, we're getting somewhere. Okay, so you are a born native here. So what have you done to contribute to society? Do you have a job? Do you pay taxes? Or are you helping your fellow man or woman, boy and girl? Or are you helping them out? Or are you doing anything positive to help someone else out to come up? Nah, I can't help nobody because I ain't got it like that. Okay, now let's address that question. Why don't you have it like that? Did you go to school? Did you get your education? Did you get a degree? Well, okay, so it's every excuse under the sun why you don't have what you have. Why? Because you're strung out on drugs and stuff. Why? Because you're strung out on alcohol. Why? Because you didn't want to do nothing, and so now you're out there selling your body and doing this and that and the other. Every excuse why you can't come up is always somebody else's excuse, except for you not getting off your tush and making something of yourself. Well, my daddy was a drug addict. Well, my mama, she was a hoe. Well, I had to live with my grandmama. Well, I mean, okay, people. So do you think that just because your life wasn't rosy, that these people's lives wasn't rosy as well? Everybody is in a situation. Everybody. So what is it that you're going to do? Are you going to help them out? Are you going to help your people out? Or are you going to try to help yourself out? What are you going to do? Because you got many complaints. Everybody can complain about something. But what are you going to do to change it? It all starts with you. It all starts with you. Peoples, look, I didn't live in the ghetto. I had an intact family. My mother and father was married. They had 4 kids. They raised us. We was brought up in church. We had the opportunity to go to school, get a degree in everything. And so every last one of us did what we did and made a life out of what we did and stuff. So Am I truly happy with everything that I did in life? No. Do I have any regrets? Well, I can say so, but then it really wouldn't make no difference. Is my life better now? Hell to the yes. Why so? One, because I trust and believe God. Despite of everything that I've been through, I trust and believe God. I never wavered from that. That was taught to me at an early age. And in doing so, I made some mistakes. I had to bump my head. I had to work 2 and 3 jobs, but it was my choice, all because I did not want to listen. And so I had to struggle and struggle and struggle until I got tired of struggling. And I said, you know, I'm going to better my life. I don't have to work 2 and 3 jobs. I have a child now, and then I have children now. And so I had to do what I had to do at an early age to make sure that once they came into existence, I no longer live my life for me. Everything I do is for them. And so every choice that I made and stuff, it was for the benefit of them. Because once you bring a child into the world, you no longer live your life. You live your life for them and make sure that they are taken care of. Just how my mother raised me, just how my father raised me, is just how I raised my children. Gave them the best of everything to the degree of what I can do. And because I sacrificed myself, God turned around and look what he did for me. Now I am in my golden years and I'm still got a good job. I'm still making money. I'm still got a roof over my head. I still got clothes on my back. And I'm still raising my youngest. Still spoiling him just like I was spoiled. Still infusing in him just like it was infused in me. I'm giving back, not only to him, but I'm giving back to the people out there as well. Oh, so I've been criticized. Oh, I'm running around here, you know, messing with the people out there and all like that and stuff. That's so stupid. It's so crazy to me, peoples, that anybody can even develop their mind to even, and moms to even think about something like that or say something like that. My mother, when she was living, fed the homeless. My grandmother, when she was living, fed the homeless. Fed the homeless. Fed the people in prison. Had the prison ministry and things. Helped the people who couldn't help themselves. And because of that, God turned around and blessed her. Blessed her until the day she died. She left blessed, left with abundance. When God said, I will try me, for I will open up the windows of heaven and pour, not sprinkle, but pour you out a blessing that you wouldn't have room to receive. It is because of my mother's goodness. And it's because of her loving kindness. Because she had blessed others, God had blessed her. And God has blessed her seeds, which is me. And I'm blessing my seeds, which is my children. So it's passed down from generation to generation to generation. So peoples, when you want to be stingy with your finances, when you want to be stingy with any and everything that you have, well, then you ain't gonna have much of nothing. When you all the time want to take and take and take and never want to give, you ain't gonna never have nothing. I have, and I'm blessed because I give. And I give from my heart. I do. I give. I give from my heart. And so I've never have to worry about anything. Because even in my moments to where I don't have much, God still blesses me. Because he remembered what I have done. He said, I am the miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. And because I remembered that God is everything to me, that's why I never got to worry about nothing. Even in my darkest hour, God has always provided. Even when I had to eat beans and rice as a meal for weeks on end, God still was my provider. I never changed that, peoples. I never changed that. I never not stopped trusting and believing in God. And because of my faithfulness, God turned my situation around. Blessed me with a good job. Going to bless me with a new car within probably by next week, or if not the week after. Bless me with money. You know, just blessing me. The Lord is blessing me right now. Oh, right now. I said the Lord, he keeps on blessing me right now. Oh, right now. He woke me up this morning, and it started me on my way. The Lord, he keeps blessing me right now, right now, right now. And God keeps blessing me right now. He keeps blessing me, peoples, over and over and over again. He keeps blessing me. I ain't got to worry about nothing. Because regardless of whatever my circumstances may be, I keep reminding the Lord about what he had told me to do. He said, trust in the Lord with all of thine heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all of thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. And this is what many of you don't do. You don't trust God. You don't love God enough to give him your everything. This is why many of you is in the situation that you're in right now. It's because you want to take things upon yourself and you don't give it to God. You just want to do it yourself. Well, hey, I can do this myself. I don't need nobody. No, yes, you do. Yes, you do. It took your mother and father to bring you in. It took your mother and father to come together. They had to come together. No matter whether it was love, whether it was by force, whether it was by coercion, doesn't matter. They had to come together. And when they come together, they created you. And then if you got children, you have to come together to create someone. And then that person has to create someone, and then so on and so on and so forth. But now, since they created you, how is you like? Are you like your mama and daddy? Did your mama and daddy drink, smoke, do drugs? What was your mama and daddy a Christian person? Or was they deviant and demonic devils? What were they like? Are you a reflection of them. How are you like? Do you, when you pass a homeless person on the street, do you just flip up your nose and automatically say, well, you need to get a job? Do you bless them with a kind word? Do you bless them with a little bit of change? Do you go out your way to go ahead and buy them a meal? Or do you turn up your nose in disgust just because they look filthy, dirty, and smelly? People, you better be careful how you entertain people that you come in contact with, because you just never know that you may be entertaining an angel, and it may just be that very person that can change and transform your life, and God can be testing you at that particular moment. And whatever you may have thought in your mind or verbally said out your mouth can be the very thing that's going to put you in the same situation as that person. The Bible teaches us, people, so a man thinketh, so is he. So when you think degradation, well, then that's how you're going to act out, peoples. You gotta fill your mind. You got to fill your mind. You got to fill your heart. You got to fill your speech with something wonderful. Because if you don't, peoples, you're going to be just like a lot of these people out there roaming the earth with no purpose whatsoever. See, peoples, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. No matter whatever you may say about Edward Joseph, I am blessed. And you can't do nothing about it. Your words don't penetrate me. It doesn't bring me down. Even when you come with your salacious madness, all you're doing is just elevating me. Because all you do is just keep me more so up on bended knees. And I pray for you. I say, Father, these people, boy, man, they got it in for me. They don't know me, but they talk about me. They put me down. They ridicule me. They scorn me. They do all of what they did to you. But you still hung on a cross and you still had your arms stretched out wide and you said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And you know what I say about you peoples? Lord, forgive them. Whether they know not what they do or whether they do know what they're doing, forgive them. Forgive them. And let me forgive them from the bottom of my heart. Let me forgive them. Let me empty myself out and let me forgive them. And let me go ahead and move on. Let me be able to stand up and bask in your glory. And let me be able to tell my story. Let me not be hindered or bound by anything that these people have up against me. No weapons formed against me shall prosper. It won't, peoples. It won't. And it ain't saying that I'm the greatest saint there is and stuff. No, I just trust and believe in God. And I just trust and believe that the Lord will repel your hell. Do you understand what I'm saying, peoples? As long as we are on this earth, peoples, we're going to go through some stuff. We're going to go through some stuff as long as we're on this earth. And however you do, peoples, whatever you do it for the glory and honor of God. And make sure that when you do it, peoples and stuff, make sure that your intentions is pure. Make sure your intentions is right. Make sure that your intentions is golden. And if you do that, peoples, God will bless you abundantly. He will. He will. I'm telling you, he will. Now my heart goes out to all of these people out here who's roaming the streets and things and stuff. But at the end of the day, peoples, everybody has a job to do. They do. Everybody has a job to do. ICE has a job to do. President T, you suckers voted him in. And so he has a job to do. And his job is to go ahead and wreak havoc in your life. Now, if you don't, or if you didn't like him, well, then you shouldn't have voted for him. And if you didn't want him to be in office, well, then you should have voted. But at the end of the day, it was many of you that voted him in. For all of you who didn't vote, you should have voted. And because you didn't vote it, he still got in. All because you didn't vote it for him. Because you don't partake into all of this because you feel that your voice is not necessary. Well, that's how he got in. Because you don't do what you're supposed to do. And so whatever happens to you, it happens to you because of the simple fact that you are subservient to the system. So when you don't vote, when you don't go and you don't get out here and protest, you don't get out here and try to make a difference, but then you are subservient to the system. And when you're subservient to the system, you need to shut up and don't say a word and accept your punishment, because your master, President T, is going to whoop your big time. Your name is Tobe, to obey. To obey. And it doesn't matter whether the man is white, black, Asian, Hispanic, or whatever the case may be. Your name is Tobe, to obey. And if Massa has to take out his whip and whip your, hey, that's what he needs to do. So I brought this live for a reason, peoples. I brought this live for a reason. I sat back here and I looked at this thing and I looked at other things and I said, well, damn, this is really a crying shame. It's really a crying shame. But then I had to think long and hard upon that and stuff, and I had to remember, America was built on the backs of slaves. America. And we live in America, peoples. And America was built on the back of slaves. And so you're always going to have different class of people. You're going to have the elites. You're going to have the people who's in the middle that is not elite, but then they're not as low as the people who is scrounging every day in garbage cans and things of that nature. And then you have the people who's less fortunate. And every class is always going to look down on the other because they said, well, I made it. Why can't they? Well, not everybody can climb up the ladder the same way and stuff. There's always going to be some people who's going to be lower than you. But see, that's where it gets interesting. And that's where you as an individual comes in. You got a responsibility, peoples. It doesn't matter whatever class that you may be in, you have a responsibility. And you can be blessed in your situation. You ain't necessarily got to have a lot of money in order to be blessed. In order to have a fruitful life and things, peoples. No. I knew a lot of poor people who was just as happy and as joyous as having $1 million. And just so grateful and thankful to even have a sandwich prepared for them. And see, at times, peoples, the Lord reminds us and he humbles us, because when we get the big head, then he changes our circumstances and he allows us to live in the circumstance of the people who we tend to talk about. And so we come from fried chicken to porterhouse steaks and all like that to beans and rice. And it may not last forever, but it's a moment in time to where the Lord sits you down to shut you up, to make you reflect upon his goodness and his mercy. Because God, if he didn't have goodness and mercy, peoples, we will be a messed up generation. Don't you ever sit here and complain about the people who can't do what you do. Don't you ever fix your mind, your heart, your lips to go ahead and talk about the less fortunate, because you're just a word away from being just like that. Have compassion upon the people. You may not like what they do, but have compassion upon the people. But see, the people, some people, they can't help themselves, because some people, they're doing drugs. That was their prerogative. That's what they did. Now, you help them, but you can only help the people who wants to help themselves. Now, if they don't want no help, let them be. Let them be. Let them toil in their mess and madness. Let them be. Because there ain't no helping people who don't want to help themselves. Can't help them. No matter how hard you try, you can't help them. You got to let them go. Got to let them go, peoples. Got to let them go. Comes to a point to when you try to help people and they don't want to help themselves, let them go. Let them not disturb your peace and tranquility. You let them go. But when you let them go, leave them in God's hands, because even they are in the situation that they're in, God is going to take care of them. God is going to give them the wherewithal to survive, but survive in their own madness. And when the good Lord is ready, he will take them, but not until then. You do your part and leave the rest to God. You do your part. But while you're doing your part, all the time, keep God first. Ask for direction. And the Lord will give it to you. Lord will tell you what to do and what not to do. That's what we call sixth sense. That's what we call intuition. Do you understand what I'm saying? See, the Spirit will always speak to the people who would listen. Spirit ain't going to speak to everybody, but the Spirit will speak to the people who would listen. You have to have an ear to hear the voice of God, peoples. And you got to obey the will of God. And if you don't want to do that, well, then, hey, don't complain. Just be a disobedient child. I brought this here for a reason, peoples, because this had disturbed my spirit. And I had mixed emotions about this and stuff. And I pondered while I was home and I was watching this. I pondered. I said, well, do I want to do a live about this or do I not? Do I speak to the people about this or do I not? And the Lord said, no, speak to the people. Speak to the people. And show them and tell them through visuals. The Bible teaches us, peoples, the word says, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek thy face and turn from their wicked ways, then shall they hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sins, and I will heal their land. But see, he started off with, if my people, which are called by my name. Not everybody is his people, but the people whom God called, God chosen, God chastens. And those people have a responsibility to uphold, like Edward Joseph. I'm one of the called. I'm one of the chosen. And this is why I am so effective in the various things that I do. Now, I may not have a lot of money to take care of all of society peoples, but God gave me a voice. And God gave me a platform. And with my voice and my platform, I can be able to change and transform people's lives. I can. I do it all the time. I mean, I talked about the Kanika Jenkins case, and I brought clarity out of confusion. I told you about these deviant, devilish, and demonic devils who had did this young lady wrong. I talked about it. And I showed you the various things that these people have done, and millions of people all over the world have saw my video in one instance or another. And then the people tuned in, they watched. They wanted to see what I had to say. And as I was talking about the Kanika Jenkins case, peoples, I had people all over everywhere who never even saw me tried to bring me down because they didn't like what I was saying. But if they ever took the time out to listen and look at what I was saying and doing, then they would have understood something, but they didn't. They didn't. They didn't agree. And I didn't ask them to agree. I just only gave you what was given to me. I told you and I've shown you a lot of things that no other YouTuber has ever done. I brought validity out of stupidity. And I've shown you unequivocally and undeniably. So when it was given to you, peoples, something that you never even noticed, that ain't Edward Joseph. That ain't my thoughts. That ain't my views. That ain't nothing but God using me as a vessel to show you the demonic madness that these people were doing. And that's all that I do. And so now I'm going to take my gift and I'm going to expand it other than Kanika, because there's other people's whose cases has to be talked about. And the various things that happen to them, it has to be spoken about. And the people got to wake up. They got to wake up. People are asleep. You got to wake up. People are dying daily. You got to wake up. People are getting assaulted. People are getting abused. But you got to wake up. And so I said, thank you, Father. I understood my purpose. God gave me this platform for a reason. And I'm not like no other YouTuber. I don't profess and I don't proclaim to be like no other YouTuber. I am Edward Joseph. And I can make a difference. I have my own unique ability and capabilities to talk about cases and to bring awareness to it and to wake the people up. That's my gift. That's what I'm good at. That's what I do. And even if I reach one, that's good. I'm not here to try to reach the masses, because I know that only in God's time will that happen. If I can only touch one of you and to get you to see and understand the power that lies within you and to help you cultivate that, my God, my living is not in vain. It's not in vain, peoples. Wake up. Wake up and smell the coffee, and wake up to see the oppression of the people. Because the things that is happening now happened years ago to our ancestors, to our forefathers and whatnot. And I don't care how educated you may be in history. I'm not that much educated in history. I didn't really care for history. But I do know what I've seen with my own eyes and heard with my own ears. And dare not to speak with my mouth. I've seen the oppression in my days. And today, it's hella different than the way that I was. I mean, the way that it was when I was growing up, peoples. And it's sad. It's really sad. And you thought that your life was a living hell, a living nightmare. Oh, peoples, you ain't seen nothing. This is nothing. This is nothing. Just imagine being one of those people who is being railroaded, arrested, beaten, and the likes and stuff. Just imagine being one of them. And then you go back and you listen to whatever Joseph had said. And it's like, wow. I wish I could have, would have, and did, but you didn't. People's, and I'm guilty of this too. We complain too much about the wrong thing. We put people down way too much instead of uplifting people. You know, just because they don't live the way that we live, they don't do the things that we do, we all the time got a complaint up against them. But then, what fruits are we bearing? Are we bearing any type of fruits, peoples? Are we getting people saved? Are we bringing people to Christ? Are we telling the story of the gospel of Jesus Christ, peoples? Or are we on here every day constantly belittling people who is less fortunate than us? Well, people, let's take a walk for one moment, if you will, and be brutally honest. Let's take a walk, if you will, on tonight. And let's take a look at the oppressed, the unrest, the unjustification of things. And let's see what you have to say, what your opinion may be, peoples. Because see, you're sitting at home in the comfort of your home, sitting in your chair, lying in your bed, or whatever, or sitting on the couch or whatever. You know, you're sitting back and you're watching this live, and it's like, you know, you can go in that refrigerator and get you some milk, some cookies. Or maybe you only just have just some top ramen or something. But you're still watching the live. So by you watching the live, that means you're blessed. You got internet, you got energy, you know, because you got to have energy in order to watch the live. So you got a laptop, you got a computer, you got a watch, you got an iPhone, iPad, or something, whatever means you're still being able to watch the live. So if you will, peoples, take a walk with me on tonight. And let's look and see these people who is fighting for just a little bit of equality. And then put yourself in their shoes and ask yourself, if it was me, would I be out there doing the same thing? Or would I be doing something different? And then you got to ask yourself the ultimate question. If whatever stance I may take, is it legal or is it not? And if the things that I'm doing is illegal, then what will be the repercussions of my actions? Because see, let me do a stark contrast, people. Disobedience to God will lead to you being arrested. Maybe not physically arrested like an officer coming and putting some cuffs upon you, but you will be arrested by God, because God will make sure, he will make sure that your blessings will be hampered because of your disobedience. Do you understand what I'm saying? Is it legal for you to disobey God when God gave you a command? Is it illegal? And if it is illegal, what will be the consequences of your actions? Well, just like these people. The government says that you need to come in and you need to come in and you need to follow the law. Well, they didn't want to do that. They came in anyway, and they came in illegally. So since they came in illegally, peoples, then you ask yourself the question, what will be the consequences for their actions? What would you do if you were the judge and the jury? And how would you sentence these people for their disobedience to the law? That is the question that I pose to the people. Peoples, this is ICE raids. And before I begin, peoples, I see my peoples had come in. Hello, Mariah Lavender. How are you, ma'am? It is a blessing to see you. And today, Mariah Lavender says, hey, Mr. Edward and everyone. And I tell you, peoples, I have some beautiful people coming in, starting with Little Bo Peep, and then coming with Miss Capslot Lee, and then ending with Mariah Lavender. All right, peoples. ICE raids.
And now we just await for the remainder of the officers and investigators and agents here to leave the location. You mentioned, people that were here for, protesting. This was a flatbed truck that was here from the beginning. Somebody was on a loudspeaker that was talking to the crowd. Various signs that are on the truck. Not entirely sure what group they are from, but they were here encouraging the crowd, keeping them kind of basically just motivating the crowd here to stay at the location, and eventually they all made it to the back here. So again, this is what's going on. It's kind of de-escalating here, just keeping the crowd from making their way into the parking lot. Not seeing much more of a scuffle at this point, and the crowd, if it very well has thinned out, if not just kind of fanned out a little bit here on Stanford, but it seems to be de-escalating at this point.
And on the right side of your screen, you're seeing video from earlier, a short time ago, as those white vans tried to make their way out of that location. People in the middle of the street, some trying to obstruct their path. You saw that one person go down, getting a little too close to that vehicle. It appears that he's okay, but it just shows you how tense things have gotten on the ground there during these operations.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the front wheel of the vehicle, ran over his leg or anything. And we did see him stand up, probably lost a shoe, taken out by the bumper, but he was standing in front of the vehicle and had his hands on the hood and was backpedaling as the vehicle began to pick up speed, and then he lost his footing and fell down. So hopefully that's, no serious injury there, but we saw two vans of people being taken away. And of course, that third vehicle, that was probably just, some ICE personnel in that. It didn't look like it was big enough, as big as the other van, so.
And the big question here, the nature of these raids, these federal raids, we have no idea. We're waiting on some information on that. We're not sure when that will be confirmed to the media, but lots of questions at this hour. Why this location? We know that another location in downtown Los Angeles has also been the focus of operations, of raids earlier today. So we're digging on that end to try to get more clarity as to what is unfolding here.
All right, again, if you're just joining us, this is the scene of an ICE raid in LA's Fashion District. We had one earlier in the Westlake District, which we saw this morning. And, you know, kind of a tough situation because a lot of protesters showing up. And, you know, they managed to move the two vans out with people from this business. We don't know really the nature of what the raids were all about. We assume that maybe they were undocumented immigrants that were working there. We just don't know at this time.
And Rich Prickett mentioned earlier, a few dozen people were seen being detained. They were removed from the building in handcuffs, put in those white vans, and taken from that location here that we're watching. We're not sure exactly where they're headed. Not sure the nature of these investigations, but again, it's drawn a lot of protests, a lot of activists there on scene. Wondering if this is all tied to the immigration raids that we're seeing play out all across the country. A lot of controversy on that end, with people saying that, you know, you're seeing families being torn apart, and then there's the other argument that there is a legal process, and these are mandates that are being followed by the Trump administration to pinpoint those who are in this country illegally and removing them from our country. So again, there's a process that needs to play out, but this has been a familiar scene that we're seeing, again, not just here in California, across the country with these operations.
And we assume that whatever kind of raid was going on inside the building, that's probably been taken care of. But then again, we see these what we believe to be, you know, ICE officers still sort of setting up a perimeter to block the entrance. So, you know, there is a possibility maybe there is more people they plan to take away.
Could be more, and it could be the fact that they're trying to contain this crowd. Yeah. You know, those people who were detained, they've since left this location, but the crowds remain. And so there's probably a level of uncertainty. Why are they still here? So they're perhaps just trying to have that containment area and see if this crowd will disperse. They obviously don't want things to escalate there on the ground. There are probably a lot of tempers that are flaring. We saw the close call short time ago with that vehicle, or the vehicles as they were leaving this location. So probably there is a precautionary measure, the law enforcement presence that we're seeing, waiting to see what happens next, if the crowds that we see there will disperse. We also saw, as those people were being detained, officers having electronic devices they were holding, they were removing them from the building. The nature of that's still unclear, but just something to note.
All right, again, it's still a lot of people standing around, and again, a lot of ICE officers continuing to set up that perimeter there to keep people out of the parking lot. And this looks like something that's probably going to play out for the rest of the afternoon.
I did see our news van in one of the shots a short time ago, so I bet we have a crew, if not already there, they're en route to that location. Hopefully we'll be able to learn more on what is developing there on the ground, and to speak to those who actually witnessed this happen. You know, we're looking at it from above, from Sky 5, but just to encapsulate the emotions, you know, people who are there could be family members who are there could be colleagues. There are obviously advocates on the ground there, and hearing from them their concerns as to what has happened here.
Let's get back up to Rich Prickett in Sky 5. Rich, I mean, does it look like we saw, you know, about 15 minutes ago, we saw a lot of ICE officers going back into the building. Do you think they're still bringing more people out? Is that what they're setting up for here?
You know, I think they're just trying to get the rest of the agents out. This is mostly FBI at this point that are here, and they were probably collecting additional evidence from inside and just making sure that all their agents were out of the building before they disperse. So we are seeing a couple more agents that are making their way out of the building. As far as people that are being taken into custody, I believe for the most part, the people that they were targeting inside the building have been taken into custody and were taken away in those vans. And now it's just a matter of the remainder of the investigators and agents to leave the location. So, and that's what we're seeing here. They're starting to kind of wrap things up here. So I feel that this is going to basically wrap up here within the next several minutes, and ultimately we'll see the crowd kind of disperse, but it's just a matter of whether they are going to try and, step in front of the vehicles once again as agents are trying to leave here. But mostly FBI at this point remain at the location. And you can see they're going to start to make their way probably further away from the gate here. These probably, whether or not there's any more agents that are left inside, I'm not entirely sure. But for the most part, they were just kind of making sure that everybody got out of the building safely and that they will start to make their way out of here. So you can see the vehicles that had responded here within the last 30 minutes or so are starting to make their way down Stanford and basically just kind of leaving the location, and the crowd walking alongside with those vehicles, and as well as that flatbed truck here that's been here protesting since this raid began a couple of hours ago in the Fashion District. So FBI agents still working here to clear the streets. We're seeing dozens of people here that are still refusing to move out of the way. These people being shoved down there by agents. But again, what they're trying to do is just leave here. There's all the people that were detained have already left the location. So just a matter of the FBI and possibly Homeland Security investigators, if they're still here at the location, to leave the area. But as far as the operation inside the building, it looks to be concluded at this time. Just a matter of clearing the streets and everybody leaving.
Yeah, they're trying to clear those streets, Rich. But we know this is when things can really get out of hand. We saw a little bit of pushing and shoving there, but these are tense moments here that we're watching.
Well, you now have protesters on both sides of these officers, and that's not a good situation.
Yeah, you certainly, once they get surrounded here, it just makes things even more difficult. But, they are, they are trained for situations like this, and they will eventually make their way off the street, hopefully without another incident like we saw when somebody was partly ran over on the boulevard there. But here they are, they're starting to make their way back in another direction here. Agents on the ground still clearing people out of the way. And we have not seen anyone being taken into custody as far as at the street here. Only the people that were inside the building that were part of the raid earlier on. And so here they are trying to just kind of back their way out here with the big crowd that's outside. This truck here, I'm not entirely sure if it's FBI. It could be, most likely, here in addition with the tactical vehicles. So the gate we see is closed. So whatever was going on inside the building has concluded. The raid is done. The people that were of interest and taken into custody have left the scene here. It's just a matter of navigating through the protesters and the crowd here on Stanford. Got those shields. They're holding their shields there so they're able to kind of push people back out of the way here as they're backing up. We haven't seen any more like gas canisters being deployed here. Hopefully that's not going to be necessary to help disperse the crowd, but for the most part they are slowly making their way out from the location along Stanford here.
Rich, any particular guess on why they're going in reverse slowly instead of going forward here?
Well, I think that, we'll look ahead here, but yeah, there was cars, lots of congestion, flatbed there, up Stanford closer to 9th Street. So it looks like they have a little kind of not really a clear path, but they're hoping that they can make their way basically down here to 10th Street, maybe here we go here. So trying to clear some of the cars here for those Bearcats so they can move out of here. So they're still trying to move some of these cars here on Stanford. It's already, a busy area here in the Fashion District, as you might imagine, in the middle of the day. And now with all this going on and all the attention it's getting, we're getting more and more congestion down here. But they're just slowly maneuvering as best they can, make sure that the crowd stays safe, as well as agents here as they work to make their way away from the location that was part of the raid earlier on.
And as we keep our eyes on this shot, I do want to mention the statement that LAPD Chief Jim McDonald put out this afternoon saying that the LAPD became aware that ICE was conducting operations in the city of Los Angeles today. I'm aware that these actions cause anxiety for many Angelenos, so I want to make it clear the LAPD is not involved in civil immigration enforcement. While the LAPD will continue to have a visible presence in all of our communities to ensure public safety, we will not assist or participate in any sort of mass deportations. Again, a statement coming from LAPD Chief Jim McDonald.
And that has pretty much been the position in the city of Los Angeles, as the chief pointed out, since 1979. Interesting here, the crowd advancing on what we believe to be ICE officers who were basically backpedaling with their hand on the shoulder of the officer in front of them as they cautiously try to back out of this street and I guess get into the waiting vehicles and leave the scene. But at this point, they are clearly outnumbered.
They certainly are, and they're slowly making their way out of here. And I believe this is all FBI at this point. I have not entirely sure if HSI is part of this as well. They may have left a little earlier on with the vans that we saw leave and the SUVs, but most of this now at this point is going to be the FBI that's slowly starting to make their way out of here on Stanford. You can see they're all climbing onto the Bearcat, and they're going to get a lift here down Stanford. They almost in the clear, just trying to make their way further and further from the crowd. Now let's take a look up ahead here to see what they're facing up Stanford. But agents were clearly they were slowly trying to maneuver the cars out of the way here, and it looks like they have been able to do that. Here's a LAPD squad car here that's rolling up on Stanford, but doesn't look like they're going to get involved at this point. But here's a long line of the agents as well as the crowd that's following them down Stanford further and further from the apparel store where the raid took place earlier on. And here they go. So they should be out of here within the next couple of minutes, but that crowd's still continuing to follow them.
And I believe we want to go now to someone we have on our phone lines, a representative with Union del Barrio. Are you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Your reaction to what's unfolding, what we're watching here with these operations that were conducted earlier and the chaos that is unfolding now on the streets of Los Angeles as those officers are trying to make their way out, those folks that are on the ground trying to obstruct it. We've seen some close calls. Your reaction?
Yeah, the reaction is that this is completely being caused by the President Trump's administration and these ICE, these terrorist attacks against our community. It's very clear that the people who they are targeting are workers. They're not criminals. They're not people on the street committing crime. They're people who are at work sites working to feed their families. And so what we're seeing right now is the people of Los Angeles of all colors, religions, of all ethnicities rising up and demanding an end to these attacks against our community. Yeah, as you see right now, the cars are being basically escorted out by the people. And I'm proud to see that because throughout the country, the people are standing up to these ICE agents who are, covering their faces, terrorizing our community, and really violating all human rights. Right now, there's more than 200 people at the downtown LA courthouse who are basically in a dungeon downstairs with no restrooms, not enough food and water. This is a situation that's a violation of all human rights, and that's why the people of LA are standing up and resisting.
We saw a similar raid to this earlier this morning in Westlake District. Did you have any inkling that this was going to be happening today? Had you heard any whispers or had anybody informed you?
No, we just know that this is happening every day all over the country. So today there's been raids in South Central, in Cypress Park, all over the LA area. So, the community self-defense coalition is organizing in different neighborhoods. And if it wasn't for us right now being on these streets everywhere, we know they would be taking more people. But we're going to do our best to try to stop that because at the end of the day, the people who are under attack are working class people. These are workers. They are not criminals. That's the lie of the Trump administration.
All right.
This city runs on our work, and we have to defend ourselves.
Ron, stay with us. We want to head back up to Rich. We've seen some activity on the ground. Not sure if it's fireworks, but what can you tell us from your vantage point, Rich?
Yeah, we were trying to determine whether or not that was coming from the FBI vehicles here, or if that was coming from the civilians, if those were fireworks or some sort of flashbangs. Not entirely sure. It was hard to determine who was throwing those. We certainly saw something being thrown into the street there, whether or not they were fireworks or some sort of like flashbangs or something to clear the crowd. It's kind of hard to determine, but you can see that the squad cars, or the Bearcats, as well as the rest of the vehicles here from the FBI and the Homeland Security investigators have now made their way off of or out of that busy area where the large crowds were, and where they're headed we just don't know at this point, but they have safely made their way out of there. We didn't see much of an incident. We saw somebody lose their scooter there, which as he was trying to block one of these Bearcats. So other than that, we didn't really see any major incident, at least as these vehicles were trying to make their way out of the area. But there are several of them, 2 Bearcats, a couple of some of the command post trucks here, and as well as, well, there's a couple of LAPD squad cars there. Whether or not they are going to assist with them leaving the area, just not entirely sure. But we are starting to see a presence here by the LAPD briefly here as agents are making their way from the area through the streets of downtown from the Fashion District, making their way basically towards the 10 freeway at this point.
All right, people. So this is a sad situation. So it's a very sad situation. I really can't stand what YouTube is doing and StreamYard is doing and shit, and they're forcing a lot of stuff on us, because I'm trying to look for other stuff to come on up and things, and every time I kind of click away, then it freezes the screen. I don't like that. It never happened. Now they're implementing this new thing, so when you're sharing the screen, now you have to click on it in order to view it. And so sometimes you see the screen freezes up. But I see my peoples come in. Let me go ahead and get a shout out to, hello, Carla Henry. How are you, ma'am? It is a blessing to see you on today. Carla Henry says, hello, Edward and chat. Blessings to you all. And like I say, peoples, I love it when the people come in and bless the channel. And thank you, Carla Henry, so much for your blessings and things. And I'm going to go ahead and post the rest of the things that the people were saying. But people, this is a very sensitive topic. It is. You probably know some people who is going through some things like this and stuff. You probably know some illegals and whatnot. But see, the thing is, peoples, is that the law is the law. And if we have to follow by the law, then others has to follow by the law as well. And so I get it. I understand the circumstances and everything behind everything and whatnot. My heart goes out to them and stuff. But at the end of the day, everybody has to follow the law, peoples. Everybody has to follow the law. We all do. And so, if this is President T's mandate, well, then that's his mandate. And that's what it is and things. And hey, everybody has a defense to bring and stuff, because everybody has something to say. Well, you're violating my rights. Well, then, other people say, well, no, you're violating our rights and stuff because you the one who came in illegally instead of doing it the right way. And so if that be the case, then peoples, do we have the right to pay their medical? Do we have the right to pay their dental? Do we have the right to educate them and stuff? Think about that. You got to look at it at all sides, peoples, and things and stuff. And so the thing is that there's no easy solutions to all of this. And everybody's going to feel strongly about their opinion when they view this. I get it. I understand it, peoples. Wholeheartedly so. I get it. But at the end of the day, you have to respect the law. And if that's the law of the land, well, then that's the law of the land. That's what it is. And that's what you have to go by. And I get it, people. So, man, look at here. This is hard. This is a hard topic. This is a hard topic to talk about, and not a lot of people want to see it. But it is reality right now, peoples. And yes, I am covering it because it's not only happening in California, but it's happening all over everywhere. It's happening everywhere, peoples. And the unfortunate thing about it is that a lot of lives are being taken. You know, you guys remember when I showed the Kanika Jenkins case, right? And I showed how someone had threw over 200 kidneys. So that's 200 people that had died. And so now are they taking these people and mass slaughtering them and stuff for the kidneys and organs and things, peoples? I mean, you don't know what's happening, because when they're in the custody of the police, you don't know what's happening to these people and stuff, if they've really been deported. I mean, 200 kidneys, peoples. I mean, that's 200 people. So where are they getting all of these fresh kidneys and things from? Is it from people who they're rounding up like this and killing them off and stuff and got them in a factory or something and they're cutting them up and saving other people's lives? When you look at that, peoples, you got to think wisely. And that is 200 kidneys means 200 souls, 200 lives, 200 people. And so, where did all of those people come from? And that's what I look at. But nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody wants to talk about, well, why are they here and this and that and the other. I don't care about why they're here. I don't care about all of that. We understand why they are here. But the thing is, since they are here, what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it since they're here? Are you willing to take care of them? Or are you going to round them up and get them out of here? What is it that you want? Now, never mind what I think or what I say, peoples. What is it that you want? You got to live in the United States just as well as I do. So what are you going to do? What is it that you want? And then whatever you want, what steps are you taking to get what you want? See, people, my thing is simply this. I don't care one way or the other, whether they're here, whether they're not. I don't care. Because while they're here, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to help them. Whether they're here illegally or not, I'm going to help them. You know, if I see them. I'm not going to ask them, are you undocumented or anything? If I have some food, I'll help them get some food. If I have a little bit of money, you know, okay, here's a little bit of money. Get you some water or a meal or something. You know, I do my part to help any human being. I'm not going to ask them their status or anything. No, I'm not going to do that. Just out the goodness of my heart, I'm going to do my part to help. Do you understand what I'm saying? You know, because it can be me. It can be a family member of mine or something. You know. But that's just me, people. So I'm just one person out of the masses. I'm just one person out the masses. And I already know that you're not going to be able to deport all of these people, because even if you deport them, guess what? They're only going to come back. They're only going to come back. T is in office for only 4 years. So 4 years, yeah, you know, you may not see an influx in the border and all like that. You know, they're going to secure the border and do all like that. But then when his little ass get out of office, then you're going to have somebody else in, and somebody else is going to be sensitive to their plight. And then it's going to be like it was once beforehand. All of these policies and procedures is only tempo, because when the next president come in, the next president may undo everything that he's doing right now. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter, people. You know, like I say, all of this madness is only going to be for 4 years, and then after 4 years, that's it. After 4 years, that's it. What I can say that these people are helping you live because, you know, ain't nobody out there on the plantations, nobody's out there tilling the crops and stuff, the fruits that you eat, the vegetables that you eat and stuff. They're out there in that hot sun. People went for the 4th of July, for the week of 4th of July. Me and my son, we're going to take a trip through California heartland. And I'm going to show you different places. We're going to be going into different towns and stuff. And, you know, we're just going to be just riding, me and my son, in my brand new car. And I'm going to show you a 4K camera, and I'm going to show you the sights of California. We're going to be out in the LA area. We're going to be all over California and stuff. And, you know, we're going to be at Disneyland one day, and then we're going to be at Universal Studios next day. So 2 days out of that week, we're going to be at an amusement park. But the rest of the time, we're just going to be driving, cruising California, and showing you the sights and things. You know, me and my son, this is our time to get on and get away. And things. And so, you know, this is what it is, people. This is what it is. So my question to you is, what is it that you want? What is it that you want? Nobody is taking a stance, you know. Everybody is mumbling under their breath as to what's happening things, but nobody is taking a stance. Do you want these people here? Do you want them to go? And if you want them to go, what methods are you going to utilize for them to leave? Or are you complacent and okay with them being here and letting the system just do its thing? I mean, what is it that you want? Because they are people, and the people need to be fed. The people need to be clothed. The people need to be housed. The people need a job. So what is it that you want? And whatever you want, what is it that you as an individual going to do to make sure that that of what you want is going to happen? And that's what I ask the people. What is it that you want? And are you satisfied with the status quo? Are you satisfied with what's happening right now? Or are you just downright angry? Let's see, people. Let's go. It's nighttime now, so let's see. Let's venture on upon another thing here. Let's venture upon another. So let's go back. Let me go back to YouTube. And let's look at. Okay, so now this is happening live right now. This is happening live. This is what I wanted to see right here. So we're going to tune into this, peoples.
But what it appears right now is that they're changing out who's on this.
Don't allow. So good. Yeah, thank you. So we're going to go back to the way that it was. Because I'm tired of having to click on something else, and then YouTube is shutting down, and I have to stay up on that thing right there. So let me test it out and make sure that it is doing something. I mean, it's doing what I want it to do. Okay, yeah, good. Yeah, I just told YouTube, no, I don't want to do all that. So this is what's happening now, people. Now, I'm going to try to turn up the sound a little bit because it's kind of hard to hear what this person is saying.
Then there are LAPD that have replaced them.
So let me turn up the volume.
Confident in the group's energy that they didn't need to be overwhelming them with their presence.
This is live right now in Los Angeles. This is what's happening now.
To be looking at those
and look at the force.
Fully armed federal officers. And And these are local LAPD taking care of the situation.
I knew it was going to ramp up, boy. I knew it. I said it.
So, yeah, so it looks like LAPD
I said it.
It
was going to ramp up, and here it is. But thank God that it's peaceful, because we don't need a lot more people to be arrested and be put in some type of detention facility and things. So it's a standoff right here.
And they are probably going to fall back.
Oh, but wait a minute. Wait. Is this an entrance to a freeway?
I'm sure they're going to
I think this is an entrance to a freeway.
For the remainder of the night. But right now, LAPD has taken over.
You know, I can honestly say about the goddamn protesters, people. You know, these people are smart,
skirmish line,
because they know that they know to get they know to get the attention of the people. Just shut down an entrance to a freeway or be on the freeway. You know, that'll get the attention of the people.
To their building. There is still a skirmish line up here. You can see center of the screen. Those are officers holding a skirmish line.
So this must be a federal building.
Right here on the left of the screen. And I believe there is still, so there is a police presence here at the north end of Alameda and the 101.
Okay, there's some 101. Yeah, I knew that was close to a freeway.
It looks like there's mostly just onlookers. And there's not a very heavy police presence there. It looks like the majority, you can see all these police.
Okay, while we're looking at this, I'm gonna go and tap in and look at some other things, people. So I'll be right back. Let me go ahead and tune in a little bit and stuff. So this is still showing us good.
One of the two, they came in, took over.
Yeah, I'm not doing that new thing that YouTube wants to try to do and stuff.
And now we have LAPD holding the
other stuff
with
here.
2 separate skirmish lines, and a couple of squads look like they're ready to help out if anything kicks off.
Dang, man.
Brian Andrews in News Chopper 4 for NBC.
See, I just don't. I don't believe.
Temple and Alameda in on downtown LA, north side of.
Don't believe people.
Side of downtown. By the Federal Detention Center, where skirmish lines have formed, groups have gathered. We assume that they're here to rally against the ICE raids that happened all over Los Angeles yesterday. And right now this is peaceful. Right now, there's no one's throwing anything. No one's agitating anything. You can see that those groups are right up next to the officers. There's even less room than there was earlier. They're just feet from those officers, but clearly those officers don't feel like they need that group to be farther away to maintain their safety. That's good for everyone. A nice, safe, peaceful rally is always good. Earlier we saw smoke, we saw gas, we saw pepper balls, all being used against the crowd to get them to disperse. They worked, that crowd did disperse and did move south down Alameda here to Temple and Alameda, where things have calmed down. We saw the crowd throwing fireworks at the officers, throwing their smoke and their gas back at the officers. All that has slowed down. Things seem calm. That group is very close to the officers. And it seems like people are voicing their opinions on what's been happening in a safe and
I'm glad that the people are standing up, and I'm glad that the people are out there protesting for their rights and things. I'm glad about that. I'm happy that's happening. and whatnot. You know, I just don't agree with the people doing things at the police officers and whatnot, and I don't agree with the police officers beating down these people or anything. You know, it's supposed to be a two-way street here. So if you want respect, you got to give respect. If you understand what I'm saying. But if you want respect, you have to give respect. Respect is earned and not given. So you want the police not to beat you down, then don't go and throw stuff at the police. Then that way you don't get beat down. I mean, it's just as simple as that. We're going to toggle in between the two.
If you guys can still hear me, what's going on now is apparently police are forming another line here at the corner of Temple and Alameda, and so they're pushing people out that way. That's what's happening. I'm trying to, let's see if I can see. Oh, okay. Another line, okay. Okay, thank you.
Oh, people, you know, only in LA that this happens. You know, I mean, only in LA. I don't want to go on my vacation and stuff and be out in Los Angeles and get caught into all of this madness. I really don't. Really don't. I will be pissed. We would go to Los Angeles and then we get caught up in all of this madness. Ooh, I would be pissed, bro. So, I don't know. I gotta look at the trajectory of where we are first before we drop that. If some things is going on, because if it is, then we're not going to be a part of that. I'm not going to be out there being like all of these people and be out there showing you all of this stuff. No. You know, my son and my time. You know, we'll see this up on the news, but I'm not personally going out there showing this stuff. I may go over to that area where I showed you what happened to the wildfires in October. I can show you that. You can show you good exclusive video coverage of that, and then go up there where Eddie's mansion, or used to be mansion, is and stuff. And
so did you hear me? It's okay.
Well,
I guess you just. No, that's okay. I just wanted to let you know what's going on out here. So basically, police have formed another skirmish line, and that's why people are moving around. That was it. And I'll say it in the end.
All in all, it's just like the Kanika It's people is out, and you know they're enjoying themselves.
And hey, I'm sorry about that interview. Leslie wanted me to get somebody, and I did, and I told him not to say any bad words. I didn't think he was going to say that. Yeah, got that.
Okay, morphing me. I'm not going to show that up on the live. So I don't know why you coming in so aggressive like that. Everybody has the right to protest. Everybody has the right to live, as well as you have a right to get peace. You know? Why is everybody so aggressive? You know, that's what I don't understand. Why y'all get so aggressive and bent out of shape because of the people? Trying to just make
I have a good update for you now. First, I want to tell you that police have formed another line at Alameda Street further down, and so they pushed people out that were kind of huddled back over there, and they made their way over here. And now coming back to where we are here, there's a big group of LAPD officers, and I saw they have a big stack of those zip ties. So, and you know what? I think I may have heard that dispersal order, but. I think arrests are on deck here. They're coming because officers, I see they have the zip ties. They're moving. They will be moving closer. And I want to say I've been hearing the dispersal, but it's so hard to tell with all these helicopters above us here. But this is the most we've seen when it comes to potential arrests happening. Okay. I'll send it back to you.
have a gun. It's code 34038 RD 1982. Send by for additional.
1476 responding code 3 from Pacific
Station. We have visual from the southbound side, north southbound side, approaching 91. Looks like
19, 50740, 6936, Colbert Avenue, incident 299, RD 916.
Step 5 from visual from southbound side, southbound side, 91, 735, what's vehicle?
Machine is 19961, your domestic violence, return of violation, 8767, 6714, place is now possible shooting just occurred here, heard for the justice for suspect started knocking at the door, so code 34038 and RD 1982. Please, code 3 incident 4041.
1942. I'm on a dark colored Mercedes or BMW. But possible for the pop-off 475, which is super to make utility out of the picture. Stepping out lanes from Buffalo side and streaming, 1 accident, 147.
1961, Deshaun, the possible shooting to go down Minneapolis. Your suspect is a male Hispanic, 34 years, has a thick mustache, 180 pounds, 5'4", wearing a dark colored city possible jeans. Addition 7038. 89, 9889, oxygen status.
843 1372 1939, Roger.
We have breaking news now. You are seeing protests erupting in the Los Angeles area tonight as law enforcement squares off with crowds protesting immigration raids in the city. For 2 days in a row, the LAPD has used flashbangs and tear gas to clear demonstrators. The Trump administration is deploying 2,000 National Guardsmen, a move California's governor called inflammatory. And the FBI says it will investigate protesters for interfering with federal agents. Let's get to CNN's Julia Vargas Jones now, who's with protesters who've gathered in downtown Los Angeles. And Julia, what have you seen so far?
Hi, Brian. Look, we are here outside the federal building in downtown Los Angeles, where protesters are saying, they don't want ICE in Los Angeles. They're chanting out with ICE, release the people that have been arrested. There are about 118 people that were arrested, according to the Department of Homeland Security, in the several actions that took place in Los Angeles this week. Some of them here in downtown Los Angeles, 3 of them on Friday, and then again today in about an hour south of downtown Los Angeles in the town of Paramount. That is where we saw some quite stunning video of protesters, community members stepping in and kind of stepping in the way of federal immigration officers as they were staging for a potential raid there. Brian, we are also hearing the calls for the release of, you can hear it from David Huerta, a prominent activist and union leader here in Los Angeles that was arrested as part of these raids. The National Guard, we are expecting the National Guard to arrive in Los Angeles soon after President Trump authorized about 2,000 of them to come in. Now, we also did hear from Governor Gavin Newsom his statement saying that he thinks that this will only fan the flames of these protests, which right now are quite small, even though these images I know are striking. Not sure if we have those right now, but earlier today in Compton, just near Paramount, where these ICE presence was known earlier today, we saw a car set on fire. We could see protesters with Mexican flags setting that car on fire. That's, again, just an hour south of where we are. Just to give you that sense of how dispersed these actions are and how they are targeted, these specific locations where ICE raids are, or here where this detention center is, where some of the people that have been picked up in these raids have been brought to, Brian.
All right, Julia Vargas Jones, I want you to stay with me. I also want to bring in now CNN senior national security analyst Julia Kayyem. Julia, if you're with me, you just heard Julia there describing the scene, but from the images that we've been putting on our air so far, what stands out to you at the moment?
Okay, people, you guys give me a moment. I'm just setting up the next screen here. Let's go.
It was earlier today that the Sheriff's Department had that skirmish line set up on the bridge right here, and they had a group of protesters on the bridge. They were able to slowly move them to the west. There was a lot of skirmishes going on during that, a lot of pushing and shoving. Some pepper spray was used on the crowd at one point, and they were able to move the crowd all the way back to Atlantic, which is here. And at that point, it looked like the protesters were pretty much scattered in different. And a short time later, the Sheriff's Department pulled back towards the freeway, and that's when protesters moved back in. They set this vehicle here in the intersection on fire, and fire department had to come and put that out. A big concern for the deputies up ahead in their skirmish line there is these vehicles that are here on Alondra. We did watch one go at a high rate of speed towards their position, and at the last minute turned into this driveway right here. That vehicle is met with rounds of pepper balls and flashbang grenades hurled at it. He quickly turned around in through the parking lot here, got back on Alondra and took off. So that's a big concern for the deputies there that are in that skirmish line. But for now, things have calmed down, at least for the moment. There's an item on fire. This is a shopping cart that was lit on fire earlier. Now they added some items to it, and it's become a bonfire of sorts. Oh, look at that. So the protesters throwing something there, firework it looks like. Yep, fireworks. So they've been seeing a lot of that happen. Here comes some more. No. That went long, whatever that was. It was fast. Now they're returning flashbang grenades. The fireworks were tossed from. Laser pointer, so that's a big concern for the deputies as well as it is for the airship overhead. You see the airship fly right through our picture there. If that laser is pointed up at the aircraft, it could blind the pilot. Can also blind those deputies that they're pointing it at over here. Where? Red? Okay, I'll look at it. How far out? The curve? Oh, off our nose. Okay, I gotcha. Okay. Well, my pilot, Jim Pollard, just reported that we just got struck by a red laser by someone about a mile away, mile and a half away. Another firework, it looks like, possibly thrown there. Goes out before it can explode.
See, people, this is just really sad. I agree with peaceful protesting, but what I disagree is all of this bullshit that is happening right here. Now, the city has to go ahead and clean all of this madness up. You know, the city has to clean that up. That comes out of your tax dollars and things. All because these people want to come in and they want to go ahead and wreak havoc in
Once
things.
again, if you're just joining us on the web, thank you for joining us.
Hey,
This
I
is
don't
Gil
agree
Davis
with
up in
this
Sky
people.
5, along with my pilot, Jim
I
Pollard. We
agree
are
with
over
everybody
a
protesting
large
peacefully, but I don't
protest
agree with all of this other stuff that is
over
going
ICE
on.
agent activity that happened this morning here in the Paramount area. We're looking at the boundary of Compton and Paramount here. This is Alondra Boulevard at Fraley, just east of Atlantic Boulevard. And we're seeing a back and forth exchange from protesters there throwing fireworks and other objects at the Sheriff's Department officials here. Okay. And the sheriff's returning pepper ball rounds and flashbang grenades back at the crowd, trying to disperse the crowd, but they've taken a position here behind some dumpster and some other items, and you see them launching fireworks now at the deputies. The deputies returning flashbang grenades that explode above them, pepper ball rounds that hit all around them. There's a lit firework right there. Looks like he's going to shoot that off. 1, 2, 3. Not much going there. Not too far. That's going. Giant firework explosion there on the ground. These are rapid response vehicles from the Sheriff's Department. They're able to load multiple deputies on board those vehicles. They're pickup trucks with side rails on them. They've moved into the area this afternoon. The deputies have set up that boundary, that strip there. You can see a laser pointer coming from the protesters behind the dumpster. A vehicle was set on fire here at Atlantic. It's still in the intersection. That was earlier this afternoon. Well, the bonfire that's been set here initially started as a golf, or not a golf cart, a shopping cart, has now grown into other items that have been tossed into the flames. Concern is for that big rig tractor there that is very close to that. Okay. So you get a perspective of what we're looking at here. That's the 710 freeway on the right-hand side, Atlantic Boulevard on the left-hand side, Alondra crossing through it. That's where all the activity is. It's not really impacting the freeway at this point. There's no longer looky-loo traffic because it's now off to the side. Okay, Sam, that well, the activity here on Alondra is continuing with the Sheriff's Department, a bonfire growing in exchange from sheriffs and the protesters. We're going to conclude our coverage here for now. We're going to go check out another story in downtown LA, and then we'll be right back to this scene. So for now, we're going to sign off the web. Thank you once again for joining us, and we will be back with you shortly.
Listen, peoples, I am all for peaceful protesting.
Now at 11, chaos erupts as armed federal agents conduct sweeping immigration raids across Los Angeles.
Listen, peoples, I'm all for peaceful protesting and things of that nature. But what I am not for is all of the looting, all of the rioting, all of the destroying of the property of people's personal property. You know, you got a lot of innocent people who is just only trying to get out there to make a living and things, and you're going in and putting people's cars and stuff on fire and whatnot. I'm not up for that. I'm not with that. And whatever the people get from the police, well, then that's what they get. That is exactly what they get. Because, see, they brought that up on themselves. Now, if you're out there just peacefully protesting, I get that. You got my full support upon that. But when you're going and you're destroying other people's property and stuff, that they work real hard for, and they're just only out there to try to make a life and things, and you're going to destroy it, well, then that takes up on a different tone. Takes up on a different tone, peoples. And this is what I'm totally up against, is destroying people's property that is not yours.
Good evening, I'm Micah Ullman.
And I'm Cher Calvin. Dozens were arrested during the sweep as angry protesters clashed with federal agents on the streets of downtown LA.
The surprise raids took place this morning, but the chaos continues into the night as hundreds face off with police. It all began at a Home Depot and then in LA's Garment District as federal agents used flashbang grenades to clear the protesters who were trying to disrupt the operation, targeting undocumented workers.
We have live team coverage of the raids and the protests. Lindsay Pena has reaction from the immigrant community. But we begin with Chris Wolf live near the Metropolitan Detention Center where the arrestees are being held tonight. Chris.
Yeah, Cher and Micah, protesters keep shifting locations around government buildings here in downtown LA. We have heard continuous sirens and clamor and the buzz of LAPD choppers overhead with spotlights cutting through the night sky. Police and FBI agents are keeping protesters away from the Roybal Federal Building and the Metropolitan Detention Center, buildings that were earlier vandalized and spray painted. Friday night, downtown LA, as an army of federal and local law enforcement personnel guards government buildings, including a detention center where suspected violators of immigration laws are being held. It's a tense cap-off to an explosive day. Tear gas, flashbangs, angry crowds, and heavily armed and armored U.S. immigration and customs enforcement agents marked a volatile Friday in the heart of Los Angeles during a series of immigration sweeps. Agents swarmed into at least 3 locations looking for suspected immigration law violators. The blowback was fast and fierce, with some protesters jumping in front of law enforcement vehicles to prevent them from moving.
They did need to bring in some backup here.
KTLA was in the air and on the ground during the immigration enforcement firestorm. Footage shows federal agents chasing people in the parking lot of a Home Depot in the Westlake district, not far from downtown Los Angeles. Individuals often gather at home improvement stores looking for temporary work opportunities with customers. Another raid unfolded at a clothing store along Town Avenue in the Fashion District, where agents hauled off multiple workers in handcuffs, loading them into vans, as other agents in riot gear clashed with onlookers in what could be described as a tense standoff. Immigration rights advocates joined the showdown, using megaphones at times to speak to garment industry workers, telling them to avoid signing any paperwork or speaking to federal agents. The activity is the latest roundup in the Trump administration's unparalleled crackdown on illegal immigration. Another ICE raid Friday targeted what appeared to be a clothing warehouse or possibly corporate headquarters building in the South Los Angeles area.
Since this happened today and no one was notified, will this happen again tomorrow? Will it be next week? Will it be next month? It's that sense of uncertainty, fear, and anxiety that is created in our city when this happens.
One demonstrator shouted at authorities tonight, quote, "This is day one of the war." Reporting live in downtown Los Angeles, Chris Wolf, KTLA 5 News.
Street, and we are just right in front of the police line. They've have pushed everyone back, and they've really taken over this intersection here, which I've lost track of time, but I'm going to say maybe about 30 minutes ago, traffic was still flowing through here, which was causing a problem for police, I think, to really get a handle on the situation and be able to make their presence here. So now the street is blocked off. We have officers on all sides here, even all the way down by the detention center where this all started. And we do have two protesters talking to police right there. They haven't moved. There's also a bunch of, a handful of people over here as well. We have to be careful. There's some signage we can't show you up here because of bad language to really give you a full scope of the scene down here. A lot of helicopters in the air. The LAPD chopper has been making, circling around here as well. Where I am right now, it definitely feels like there's more police than protesters. I don't know where everyone else went. I did hear some people say we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a different story, though, because the National Guard's going to be here. So this whole scene could look very different when they get here as well. But that's what's happening right now. Just a lot of police presence here. They have the roads blocked off. I did see a big bus. It looked like it was a police bus, possibly for the people that were arrested. I only saw one person get arrested from where I'm at here, but there most likely are a lot more people that got arrested as well. We'll have to get the numbers from police later tonight. But that is what it looks like right here on the ground.
Detention of at least 45 individuals, including a union president, is the latest chapter in President Trump's escalating immigration crackdown.
Lindsay Pena live in downtown LA with reaction to the arrests from people who have loved ones caught up in the chaos. Lindsay.
Yeah, that's right, Micah and Cher. Now, we're right across the street from the federal building where that rally and protest started hours ago this afternoon, and there is still activity taking place tonight. You can hear people honking, and another crowd has gathered just across the street right now. We did talk to someone who says that her husband was caught up in those raids earlier today, and now she is wondering what will happen to her family.
We have elected officials at every level of government.
Hundreds gathered outside the federal building on Los Angeles Street Friday afternoon following ICE raids at several locations earlier in the day. Among those in the crowd was Dulce Camacho, who tells KTLA her husband was taken into custody near a Home Depot in Westlake.
I was able to see him for 10 minutes. He said they haven't gave him anything to eat. They made him sign some papers. He speaks some English, but he doesn't read it well. So I know he doesn't know what he signed.
Originally from Mexico, she says he's been in the country for 13 years and is undocumented.
He's been in the country for 13 years and is undocumented. Hello, Cooking with D. How are you, ma'am? It is a blessing to see you on tonight. Cooking with D had said, sounds like the Orange Man is gearing up for martial law. Well, martial law may be applied out in Los Angeles, but it's not going to be applied all over in the United States. I can guarantee you that. The man will be out of office with the quickness if he ever tries to pull that stunt. And it ain't enough law enforcement in this world, in this country and stuff, in order to pull that off. You thought that this was something right now. You ain't seen nothing yet. Now, you heard what the young lady said. She said that her husband has been in the States for 13 years and he is undocumented. But if he's undocumented, and he's been in the States for 13 years, why in the hell is he out in protesting? You know, he's just making himself a target. If that man been here for 13 years and undocumented, what is her status? I mean, is she undocumented too? You know, one has to answer. One has to ask these questions, people. You know, I'm all for the peaceful protesting things and stuff, but I am not for the violence. I am not for the rioting. I am not for the people burning people's cars and buildings and businesses and things of that nature. You know, one thing I want you guys to notice is simply this. Look at all of the taxpayers' money that is being spent upon all of this. All of the police and all of their riot gear and having the National Guard come out and, all like this. Look at all of this money that is being spent. And yet the country is supposed to be broke. California is $80 billion in debt. $80 billion in debt. And how could that be, Governor Gavin Newsom, when we had a surplus at one point? And now we are $80 billion in debt. California. Just imagine that, people. It's California. $80 billion in debt. Gas prices is rising. Food is rising. Clothes is rising. Everything is rising in California. You thought that it was hard to live where you are. Shit. Man, we're going through big time. $80 billion in debt. And the question is simply this. How in God's name did we ever get to this point? How in God's name did we ever get to this point? I don't understand it, peoples. This is crazy. This is crazy, people. Here, I'm going to share something with you guys that was just sent to me and things. Man. See, my heart goes out for the people, but on the same token, the people can't be destroying things in the manner to which they're doing. I don't agree with that, peoples. Not at all. I don't agree with that. Not one bit. I'm up for peaceful protesting, but I'm not up for the violence, and I'm not up for people tearing up people's cars and this and that and the other. I'm not up for that. Now, when that happens, then, what I say is shit. The officers has the right to whoop some ass, and do whatever they do to calm these people down and things. I don't agree with that at all. Period. Whatsoever. But you got people who's out there that's just unhinged. People's hey. But we're gonna switch gears. I'm gonna come back to the news thing, but let's look and see what was sent to me right now. Let's go.
Destruction. That is what Donald Trump's presidency is all about. He wants to break our government, attack our communities, make us scared so that we allow him to get away with the heinous crimes that he is committing. And to make sure he can, he tries to distract us. And both of those things are happening right now in Los Angeles, where Donald Trump is sicking his mass thugs on peaceful protesters who are speaking out against the ICE raids in their communities. And what is Donald Trump doing while he sets this country on fire? Well, what we're going to see he was doing, it's going to disgust you, because it always does. But before we get into it, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video and to support our work, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we can get into what Trump's doing, I want some context of what is happening right now on the ground in LA with this local news report right here.
It's a surreal sight. This Black Hawk moved in just in the last few minutes from the Border Patrol, landing at that Homeland Security office on the Paramount side, right next to the Home Depot, and they are unloading this huge helicopter with, I mean, just boxes and boxes, dozens of boxes of ammunitions, less lethal weaponry. You see these tanks with flammable labels on the side, one after another, an entire shipment, as if they were getting ready for some kind of a major battle. I mean, it really has to be said, this is a remarkable sight. In the middle of a suburban street here, where they are just unloading all of these weapons, carts full of boxes and flammable weaponry. So you can see that it just made its own parking spot there in the parking lot of that Homeland Security office on the other side of the river, where all of this is taking place, and just a few blocks from that Home Depot and right across the freeway from where that car fire was, just a few blocks away, and the protesters and Sheriff's Department had been squaring off. But this site here at the Homeland Security office of these federal officials unloading dozens of boxes of weapons and ammunition is just quite a sight to behold here. Something I really don't recall ever seeing here. Guys, back to you.
It says just so much how stunned that reporter is watching a military-style helicopter land in a city street and take out weaponry. This is insanity. And again, no shock here that Donald Trump's thugs, they're masked up. They're covering their faces. Why? Because they know what they're doing is illegal. They're not taking their instruction from the governor, as Donald Trump sends in 2,000 National Guardsmen. No, Donald Trump has just declared that he's going to be sending in the National Guard for no reason other than to intimidate. And he's doing it with rubber bullets. They're beating people senseless in the streets for no reason. This is absolute insanity. But again, it goes to serve two of Donald Trump's always end goals. He wants us to distrust the government. He wants us to be afraid. This is about destruction, but also distraction from the idea and, of course, the story that he's passing right now the worst budget in history, and also that he just broke up with his boyfriend. But that distraction doesn't stop with Trump. It's also Tom Homan right here.
And, like I said many times, these elected officials or these non-government organizations, they can't cross the line either. I mean, we got people like, Hakeem Jeffries saying he's going to dox ICE employees. ICE agents out there with masks on. They're wearing masks to protect themselves and their families because they've been doxxed, their families been doxxed, their life's been threatened, their families have been threatened. I know myself, I had over 1,000 protesters in my house. I expect that as the borders are, but these men and women are putting their lives online every day. They arrested a lot of bad people yesterday and today. They arrested child sex offenders. They arrested people convicted of robbery. They arrested public safety, not only significant public safety threats, but national security threats. They arrested gang members. We're making Los Angeles safer.
Spare me the complaints for the ICE agents being doxxed. Yeah, they should have to identify themselves as they're attacking American citizens, attacking our communities. Tom Homan doesn't care about making anyone safer. Donald Trump is sending the National Guard. These ICE agents are attacking peaceful protesters. They're trying to cause unrest because they don't want it to be peaceful. They want to cause a spectacle so they have something to point at when they attack us even more. This is just the basis for Donald Trump to say it's a full-on invasion. That's what J.D. Vance has been tweeting all night. He's been taking these pictures from the crowds when he sees a Mexican flag and goes, oh, this is clearly an invasion from Mexico. It's time to declare martial law. That is their ultimate end goal here. And while they're causing all this chaos, while they're inflicting this pain on these communities, on people trying to enjoy a high school graduation, what is Donald Trump doing? Take a guess. What is Donald Trump doing? He's at a UFC fight.
Well, if you thought it couldn't...
Not that we'd ever expect our just evil president to ever actually be doing his job. And if he was doing his job, he'd probably actually be hurting the country. But of course, we catch him on camera, smiling and waving, mucking it up, having some fun at UFC. Well, people are being shot with rubber bullets in Los Angeles for exercising their First Amendment right. But it doesn't just stop there. It's not just that military-style helicopter landing. It's not just the ammunition that they're bringing, because Pete Hegseth is now making a shocking threat against the people of Los Angeles. I want to take a look and see what Adam Schiff had to say about what they're doing to his constituents. Pete Hegseth wrote on Twitter, "The violent mob assaults on ICE and federal law enforcement are designed to prevent the removal of criminal illegal aliens from our soil, a dangerous invasion facilitated by criminal cartels, aka foreign terrorist organizations, and a huge national security risk. Under President Trump, violence and destruction against federal agents and federal facilities will not be tolerated unless you're a January 6th insurrectionist. The Department of Defense is mobilizing the National Guard immediately to support the federal law enforcement in Los Angeles. And if violence continues, active duty Marine and Camp Pendleton will also be mobilized. They are on high alert." They're threatening to send the military. They're threatening to send the military. That's what Pete Hegseth has escalated this to. Again, they're all just trying to escalate it. They're trying to intimidate you. That's what Adam Schiff was saying, and I want to take a look at what he had to say. Adam Schiff wrote on Twitter, "The Trump administration's calling on the California National Guard without the authorization of the governor is unprecedented. This action is designed to inflame tensions, sow chaos, and escalate the situation. If the Guard is needed to restore peace, the governor will ask for it. But continuing down this path will erode trust in the National Guard and set a dangerous precedent for unilateral misuse of the Guard across the country. Violence must stop, and we need to keep the focus on protecting fundamental rights. There is nothing Trump would like more than a violent confrontation with protesters to justify the unjustifiable, invocation of the Insurrection Act or some form of martial law." I completely agree with Senator Schiff that we need peaceful protests. But the overwhelming majority, as always is the case, of these protests have been peaceful. And of course, they started peacefully until Donald Trump's masked thugs started shooting rubber bullets into crowds. Why? Because this is ultimately where they want it to go. They want a reason to do the worst. Senator Schiff is spot on. Adam Schiff is spot on. They need some justification, some fake justification that they can blow up, declare martial law.
And that's what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do in California. They're trying to destroy California economy. He wants to declare martial law. But see, look what the Supreme Court had did. The Supreme Court had literally had given this man unfeathered immunity to allow him to do whatever he wants to do and stuff. People, this is happening in California. He hates Gavin Newsom so much so to where now, look, he is literally poking the bear. I guarantee you, people, the American people is not going to stand for it. California people is not going to stand for it. They can declare martial law, they can declare whatever, but what he's trying to do is he's trying to destroy California's economy. That's what he's trying to do. And he's poking the bear by this immigration type of bullshit and madness and things. You know, notice how white people is not out there. It's all Mexicans and all of these undocumented people and things. You don't see the black people out there. They don't want the black people out there because see, black people don't know how to behave. So as long as they're not poking the black people and things, well then yeah, things is going to escalate, and they're going to go ahead and they're going to round up more of these undocumented people and Mexicans and things and try to destroy the economy out there in Los Angeles and stuff. You know, because see, right over where they are is close to Hollywood, and with this P. Diddy shit, you know, Trump is trying to distract everything and stuff. You know, he's trying to make a ruckus and things. So when he goes and pardon Diddy, then it's not going to be too much of a fanfare because all of this is just a distraction. That's all that it is. Cooking with D has said, did you ever think you'll see American streets look like this in your lifetime? This is the most corrupted administration ever. I totally agree. And see, people, it's happening in California, but it's going to happen in your state as well. I tell you one thing, California is one of the most resilient states there is, because all of this shit happened in not only Los Angeles, but San Francisco as well, which is another hot point. They're being very quiet over here, but they're touching Los Angeles. Being very quiet in San Francisco. But it's going to ramp up, people. I guarantee you it. I predict he can go ahead and bring in the military as much as he wants. But the military is going to be drawn down in a major way. Because you have way too many people out there in Los Angeles that is packing. Los Angeles is a big, big, big city. You have a lot of gangsters and things out there and stuff. A lot of people with a lot of money that does a lot of things. And they're not going to sit back and just allow President T and his goonies disrupt the flow out there. Now, bear in mind, people, this only little area is gaining national attention. You know, it's only little area. You remember what happened in the Los Angeles riots, right? You remember what happened when the guy got assaulted by the police and things. You guys remember that, right? And it caused a national riot. That's what he wants. He wants the people to go ahead and destroy their own city. We're already 80 billion, not 8, but $80 billion in debt. And he wants to spark this to where the people will go ahead and start tearing up their cities and towns and stuff. But I guarantee you, the black people is not going to allow that to happen. They're not going to allow that to happen. Now, they're in the fashion district right now, and they're conducting raids and things. You know the fashion district. That's where everybody get all of their clothing and things of that nature. All the little designer clothes and stuff that you guys wear and all of that comes from that area right there. And so they're messing with the money, and they're messing with the people that help you, get into all of those designer clothes and things of that nature. But let them start to go into these other neighborhoods and start to poke the bear that way. And then you're going to see a major retaliation come. And it ain't enough American troops that will be able to fight a war in Los Angeles. I guarantee you it. Watch what happens. See, they're smart. They're not messing with the black people. They're just only messing with the illegals. And the illegals is fighting to stay here illegally. I mean, get a load of that, people. The illegal people is fighting to stay here illegally. So the other people are sitting back and watching. The Mexicans, they're sitting back watching. The blacks are sitting back watching. The Asians and Filipinos and all of these other races, everybody is sitting back watching. Why? Because it's not their fight. It's not their fight. How many black people do you see out there protesting? None. Why? Because it's not their fight. And you know what's happening, people? As much as they're giving all of this attention to this illegal aliens and all of these people that entered to the country illegally, guess what's happening behind the scenes? The black people was over there selling their drugs and selling their weed and doing all what they're doing, making all of their money and stuff, because the focus is off of them and on these people. So yeah, they're happy. Shit, they're making money about this time. You know, and then all of the other races, they are making massive money about this time because all of LAPD, a lot of their personnel is just standing around looking at all of these people act as fool. Government money is just going down the waste and stuff, while there is other criminal activity going around all over within other parts of the city. Think about that, peoples. When you got a lot of focus in one area, there's other areas that is being unattended. And crime is running rampant, but silently. Because the drugs is coming into fentanyl and all of that stuff, cocaine, Vicodin, and all of that crap, all of that stuff is coming in. Because the government is just focused upon a few little illegal aliens that had crossed the border. It's all a distraction, peoples. It's all a distraction, and it's all to break California's economy. But let me tell you about let me tell you about us Californians. We are resilient. We are resilient people. And we got through the LA riots, the Rodney King episodes and stuff. You know, we're going to get through this. And you thought President Trump is going to not suffer some recourse behind this madness? Watch coming up in the coming elections and see what happens. He is going to be a lame effing duck. Lame effing duck. Mark my words, peoples. I lived long enough to see this stuff happen before. Now it's happening again. But we're going to make it through. See, this time he's messing with a different race of people. And people who the American people feel that don't have a voice. You know, they say, oh, yeah, send them back. Send them back. We don't need them here. They're taking our money and stuff. But they're actually helping you out, to be honest with you. You see the Mexican lady with her designer glasses and stuff. And her husband been here, what, 12, 14 years? She's got on designer glasses? Really? And then she's going to go on national TV and tell the people that he was undocumented? You stupid. Next thing you know, they're going to go and swoop her up. They already got her face and things. Get her name and all, and get her and whatever kids that they may have out of here. I tell you, some people don't think. They don't think rationally, people. Stay away from the camera if you're undocumented. Don't speak out. Don't bring attention to yourself. That's the most stupidest thing that you can ever do. Cooking with D had said, I just said this was a setup to enact martial law. Yeah. It is a setup, peoples. Straight up, it's a setup. And you see it clear as daylight. Cooking with D said, that's where they went wrong. Now he believes that the law doesn't apply to him. Oh, no, it does. And that's why the people who is doing his deeds and stuff, is covering up and things and stuff, because see, they live in the same backyard. And all it takes is just one officer to show his face and stuff, and the people recognize him, and then it's lights out. Cooking with D said, I feel for them, but black people did their job by voting for Harris. Yep. And but you know something, it was the white people and Mexican people, the same people who have voted for him, he's turning on them. You know, because they just thought that good old President T was going to look out for their well-being. And that man just screwed you in your tush. Cooking with D said they voted for Trump thinking he won't touch them. Yeah. And that was the most stupidest thing that they could have ever did. But now they're paying the price for the various things that they did. And it's funny to me. Yeah, I can sit back and laugh, people, because I didn't vote for the sucker. You know, you did. And so now you pay the price for whatever you get. Looking with these said facts, and don't forget about the YNS. They stay ready. We fought already at the polls last November. And the black people are having cookouts and dancing to Boots on the Ground. Where are them fans at? I was just sitting back today and I was watching all of these black people, kids is graduating and stuff, and everybody having barbecues and whatnot. This young lady had made 90 years old, and this family had a barbecue and stuff, and they're just sitting back, drinking, smoking, and doing their thing. Ain't have a care in the world. Black people. And you notice Trump ain't mentioned nothing about black people. Not in none of his speeches or anything. Even Vance ain't mentioned nothing about black people. It's all about these undocumented. The people who they know that can't fight back. Don't be fooled, people. You know, don't be fooled. Trump is going to pardon Diddy. And all of this stuff that is going on right now is a major distraction. And he's causing a reaction from the people. You don't see not one black person, dark-skinned person out there protesting. What are they protesting? Juneteenth is coming around, people, and that's the national holiday for all of us. Juneteenth. And so all of the black people is going to get out and drink, smoke, and be merry. You know, it ain't got to worry about nothing because President T ain't focused upon them. He's focused upon the Mexicans, the very people that voted his ass in. It's a crying shame, peoples. And they didn't even see it coming.
JD Vance is saying that because there's flags in the crowd, of foreign countries that they're sending their worst. They're sending their military at us. JD Vance is an idiot. That's what they're trying to do. And AOC has been talking about this for the longest time. And I want to take a look at what she had to say because it rings so true today.
And now what DHS is trying to say, again, they're using public intimidation because they know that they cannot come for us all. They know that they cannot come for us all. And recently what they said is that DHS is allegedly looking into arresting members of Congress who were showing up for their legal and constitutional obligation to conduct oversight. If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, on Representative, or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem. Because the people who are breaking the law are the people who are not abiding by it. And it is enshrined in the law that members of Congress who show up to ICE and CBP facilities are required to be granted access, legally required to be granted access. And they legally cannot be inhibited from accessing these facilities to conduct their constitutional obligation to investigate and conduct oversight. So if Kristi Noem wants to break the law, that's on her. But it sure as hell is not someone like Representative Robert Menendez that needs to be arrested, okay? If someone wants to point a finger and accuse someone of shoplifting, they will be rounded up and put into a private detention camp and sent out for deportation without a day in court, without a moment to assert their right and without a moment to assert the privilege of innocent until proven guilty. Without being found guilty of a crime, they will be rounded up. That is what is inside this bill, a fundamental suspension of a core American value. And that is why I rise to oppose it. If you're a dreamer, all someone has to do is point a finger and you will be rounded up. And we have seen moments like these happen before. In the Patriot Act, in the wake of the travesty of 9/11, a fundamental suspension of American civil liberties. That is what we are seeing here today. Mr. Speaker, you may wonder why so many of our friends across the aisle who care so deeply about the rule of law happen to be so desperate to pass this bill after they are unleashing people who attacked police officers here on this Capitol into roaming our streets, who are publicly saying now they want to get a gun. Suddenly, these folks care about public safety? I don't think so. Look no further than the price tag of this bill, $83 billion. They know that it can't be paid for. They know that the capacity is not there. And you know what will be there? Private prison companies are going to get flooded with money, who give this money, no doubt. I want folks at home to look. Look at what members of Congress are invested in private prison companies who receive this kind of money, and look at the votes on this bill. It is atrocious that people are lining their pockets with private prison profits in the name of a horrific tragedy and the victim of a crime.
I hope y'all can understand why my emotions are so high right now. I am so upset. I am so scared. I am so sad. All the members of the community in Los Angeles, they're just in my thoughts right now because I cannot imagine the fear that they must have as Donald Trump attempts to inflict this pain upon their community. And to only make it worse, all the while he's hanging out at UFC because he doesn't actually care. It's gross. And some of y'all know I just got my wisdom teeth out. Stitches are killing me right now because I'm angry, but it's worth it. We're powering through because this is important to talk about. And I'm probably going to be reporting on this through the rest of the night. So if you want to stay updated, of course, you can hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way if you leave a like on this video and drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, might be pretty soon. I'll see you soon.
Because let me tell you something.
Yeah, careful, bro.
Around the 4th of July, I think all people need to stay in for, because there is going to be a mass killing on the 4th of July. July. A lot of people talk about fireworks, but a lot of people talk about guns and all of that. It's live. Look at littered with all of that ammunition and smoke bombs and ain't nobody out there, and look at all of these people online. All of those government officials out there just flying. Where's protesters at? Look at all of this money being spent on all of these law enforcement officers. The thing is, if you don't get up and stand for your rights and stuff, then things will happen. All of this will happen. The government did this. It wasn't the people who did this. The government did this. Government did this. Now, you think that they're going to administer martial law? Really? Look at the people fighting back. Look at the police running. So you think that the military is going to actually get out there and start shooting people dead and stuff? Oh, come on, because this would be a national riot. There is absolutely no way whatsoever. Let the government have a provocation upon the people and watch the people revolt. There is no way in God's creation for the people who sit around and tolerate this madness. I'm telling you. Look at the people. Look what they're doing. They're fighting back. Fighting back. Now again, like I said, I don't agree with the people and burning people's cars and trucks and businesses and things like that. But this is what happens when you try to administer martial law. People is not going to stand for it. And did you ever see one black out here protesting? You didn't. Because it's not their fight, people. It's not their fight. They're back, like I'm doing, sitting back barbecuing, got a Modelo in their hand, and watching all of this madness unfold. Peoples, this is not our fight.
Breaking news, a car goes up in flames right in front of Dale's Donuts as protests in Paramount get out of control and spill into Compton. And tensions escalate, officers in riot gear firing tear gas at protesters who are pushing back on immigration raids. Then people throwing stuff and banging on Border Patrol cars as they pass through crowds. Meanwhile, another crowd tries to block a U.S. Marshal Service bus. Federal law enforcement officers used tear gas and flashbangs to clear away the crowd. Tonight, U.S. Attorney Bill Saley says federal agents arrested over a dozen people who impeded agents. Let's get right to KCAL News reporter Zach Boetto live in Compton. Zach, what's happening? What are you seeing right now?
Hey, Gio, we're standing just off camera here. To our left, there are some masked people who have just bashed and tipped over this solar security camera station that was set up here at the Arco gas station across the street from where the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department deputies are stationed. Over here to the right, you can see those deputies. They have ride shields. They're standing strong at the intersection of Alondra and Atlantic. They're trying to hold there and make sure that the protesters don't go past that point. As you mentioned earlier, let's roll some video. There was a car that caught fire at the intersection here of Alondra and Atlantic, just right in the middle of the intersection where traffic was going back and forth and where authorities were trying to push protesters away from the action. We've seen fireworks. We've seen flags out here, people on dirt bikes, people on motorcycles. We've seen spinouts, burnouts, donuts, pretty much anything that you can think happens in a major protest. We're seeing right now here in Compton. We did speak with the Los Angeles County Sheriff as well as a protester about what's happening here in Los Angeles today. Here's what they had to say. Well, we'll get you that sound.
This is the United States of America. It's supposed to be for everybody. No one's better. No one's superior. We are the same. We bleed the same. We will die the same. We will all go under the earth the same.
All we're doing is trying to help our people from being separated from their families. That's all we're doing. That's all. Do you see anybody being violent right now, sir? No.
As the crowd has grown, it has become more violent. Individuals in the crowd that have been throwing objects at the federal agents, and we started to call in additional resources from around the county of Los Angeles.
Now,
and I tell you, people, this is exactly why martial law will not be administered in Los Angeles or in the state of California, because it's not going to happen. I don't care what the government says. I don't care what President T says. It's not going to happen. If the people can't even contain this little stuff that is going on now, what do you think is going to happen if all of the races come out? This is just the Mexicans, and this is just only just a little. It ain't even the tip of the iceberg. See, they're smart. They're not going to mess with all of the races and things, because if all of the races came out and joined together, oh my God, man, I feel sorry for the sheriff department and the police department and the military and what other. They can't even hold their ground, and yet they're spending all of this money. People, they're spending millions of dollars. You guys need to understand, all of those canisters that they're blowing at the protesters and stuff, all of that, it costs money. Having these officers out, it costs money. Everybody is getting paid. It's a lot of money. That's what you don't understand. That's what you don't realize. It is money. And they won't be able to sustain that type of force for long, peoples. Do you think that the government has unlimited amount of money? Because everything that is happening right now is coming out of your pocket. Everything that's happening right now is coming out your pocket. Somebody has to pay for it. You think that these people is out there for free? No way, peoples. And this is just only ice. You got the LA Police Department that's sitting back and stuff, and it's like, shit, we ain't getting involved in this. We're not getting involved in this. So, peoples, My point of view was just to make you aware of what is going on. You can sit back and be blindsided, and you can sit back and you can have a I don't care attitude. But at the end of the day, what's happening here is going to affect your pocketbook as well, because this is going to be a global thing. This ain't just a California thing. This is a United States thing, because what's happening here can happen in your backyard as well. It sure can. And then when it does, because not if it does, but when it does, what are you going to do about it?
Within the last few minutes here, authorities have opened up traffic here at Alondra and Atlantic, so that's why you can see cars now going through the intersection where that charred car still sits. Also within the last few minutes, those protesters knocking over that security camera. It's now resting on the power line just here above our heads. So a lot of stuff still happening here, Gio, in Compton, and with the federal authorities deploying more backup. We're thinking that this is not the end of what's happening here in Compton this evening.
Zach, yeah, we're seeing the knocked over station there sitting on its side from SkyCal. Before we let you go, I know earlier when we first broke in around 5 o'clock, you made a mention of how there's a large number of people there, obviously, a lot of them with their phones out and other forms of video trying to just watch what's going on. Do you still get the sense that that's really sort of the energy level of folks around there right now? Because we've described it throughout the afternoon that this is an ebbs and flows, and we seem to be on a bit of a downswing right now, but we know that that can change at any moment.
Yeah, Gio, I would say about 90% of the protesters that are here have their phones out and are observing what's happening. There's another 10%, and the sheriff said maybe 300 to 400 protesters here, so maybe about 30 to 40 people who are causing a lot of the damage, who are responsible for tossing over this security camera station, who are doing the burnouts, who are lighting cars on fire, lighting fireworks, but still a very active scene. And like you said, it ebbs and flows here. We just saw, I would say, the deputies here, the number of Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies double within the last 15 minutes. So we're here. KCAL's on scene. We're watching. We're reporting. We're talking to protesters. We're talking to the sheriff. And as everything plays out here this evening, we'll be here to make sure our viewers know what's happening.
Now, listen, people. This is just a little piece of the city. This is only a little piece of the city of LA. This is Compton, California. And you heard what the news reporter said, that the sheriff department had doubled the number of people. Doubled the number of people, and this is just a little part of the Mexican economy. I mean, the Mexican population out there. Really? Oh my God, people, you listen to what's happening and look at what's happening. They are destroying the surveillance video and stuff of the police and things, so they can't be watching these people and stuff. They're going to go and destroy all of these security cameras and things. Millions of dollars that the police had put up and stuff, because they're too goddamn lazy to do their job and things. So they want to put people on camera. But what's good is that going to do? You know, the people, they're out there burning cars and stuff. They're doing everything. Now you're giving the people a reason to go ahead and destroy these sky cams and things like that. Thank God for the sky cam that happened in the case of what's the guy who had got beat by the officers and stuff, but ended up getting acquitted anyway. Tyree Nichols. Thank God for the sky cam for Tyree Nichols, because if the sky cam wasn't up there, then we wouldn't have been able to see the illegal activity of the officers. So it works both ways, peoples. Not only the people are doing illegal things, but the officers is doing illegal things as well. And those suckers still got acquitted of murder. Murder. You go figure, peoples. Murder. they murdered that boy and they got acquitted of it. They didn't get acquitted of every charge because they still got some prison time to serve, but they got acquitted of murder, and all because of the Skycam had captured that. So if LA is doubling the security for the sheriff department in just one little tiny area, just think if all of LA will go ahead and riot. Oh my God, peoples. Oh my God, peoples.
Absolutely. Zach Boetto live in Compton. Zach, thank you. And breaking news, Governor Newsom says that President Trump is moving to deploy the California National Guard. The National Guard is controlled by the governor, but Governor Newsom says the federal government is moving to take over the California National Guard and deploy 2,000 soldiers. Newsom goes on to say that move is purposefully inflammatory and will only escalate tensions. And President Trump posting this on Truth Social, saying, quote, if Governor Gavin Newsom of California and Mayor Karen Bass of Los Angeles can't do their jobs, which everyone knows they can't, then the federal government will step in and solve the problem. Riots and looters the way it should be solved. Earlier, not far from the Compton scene in Paramount, protesters clashed with law enforcement, with protesters trying to block vehicles and throwing objects at cars. Officers using pepper spray and firing rubber bullets. Take a listen to this.
And see, you know what's going to happen, peoples? The protesters is not going to be going out in the streets and protesting and things. They're going to target the stations. They're going to target these police stations. They're going to burn up their cars and they're going to do all of that stuff because they're going to take it right where it hurts. Right straight to the department itself. And Trump is doing this because he doesn't like Governor Gavin Newsom. All what is taking place is illegal, peoples. It's illegal. Now, you thought that the burning car was going to be something, peoples. Watch what's going to happen with these people because they're going to start turning it up on these officers. I've seen it happen in the Rodney King riots, in the LA riots and stuff. I've seen it happen. You've seen it happen. And just one police car costs thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And all it takes is one Molotov cocktail that costs only 50 cents to destroy a vehicle like that. And when that happens, peoples, all hell is going to break loose and there is going to be a mass riot all over. And that's what President T wants. And so while you have the confusion and the destruction over in California, other things is taking place, like that big, beautiful bill that he's trying to pass and take away your medical, your Social Security, your housing. All of this is a distraction, peoples. Stay woke because this ain't no joke. Everything that's happening in California right now is going to affect you at some point in time. Now, you can choose not to look at this live and you can choose to ignore it all you want to, but that's okay. Because at the end of the day, it's your pocketbook that is going to be affected. Your pocketbook. You don't want to listen to people like me that is trying to bring awareness to all of this madness that is going on. Well, then that's fine. Be stupid. And don't do anything. Don't watch. Don't share this video. Sit back and mumble under your breath and complain all you want to and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's going to affect you, and you. It ain't going to affect me, peoples. And the reason why they ain't going to affect me because I'm God's child. And the Lord already promised me that he will take care of me even in the midst of all of this madness that's going on. And he's doing just that. And so y'all can tune out this live if you want to. That's fine. But at the end of the day, I told you so.
And just before officers used tear gas and rubber bullets, protesters tried to block a U.S. Marshal bus from driving through the crowd. See the horn honking, the face-to-face between the bus and the protesters, not to mention the flashbangs going off in the background. And this is another moment captured on camera. Protesters going face-to-face with a law enforcement vehicle and throwing what looked to be milk and other objects at a U.S. Customs and Border Patrol vehicle. And over in Inglewood, citizen video shows someone being stuffed inside a Border Patrol car. A few people were outside of the car protesting law enforcement. It's unclear if this was part of a larger raid or who the person was being taken. We've reached out to federal officials but haven't heard back yet. Today's protests come after an hours-long demonstration in downtown L.A. yesterday. People crowded the federal building where detainees were taken following widespread immigration sweeps in L.A. The protests got tense at times, with officers firing tear gas to clear the crowd. And that protest continued into the night, with crowds gathering in Chinatown, where federal agents appeared to be staging. Protesters confronted those agents as several flashbang grenades went off. Several of the armored vehicles were also vandalized with graffiti. And the leader of one of the nation's largest labor unions remains in federal custody. Service Workers Union President David Huerta is accused of interfering with the LA immigration raids. The U.S. attorney says Huerta was blocking an ICE detention van. The union says Huerta was injured during the arrest and had to be taken to the hospital. Huerta is expected in court on Monday. Today, California lawmakers say they are being denied entry into the downtown L.A. detention center where detained migrants are being held. Congressman Jimmy Gomez and other elected leaders say they should be allowed to visit any facility that's detaining migrants, but were told they weren't allowed in because of safety issues.
I've been to the Middle East, I've been to war zones, so I know what it's like to actually be in a situation that's a lot more dangerous than inside this building.
How many people are there? It is our job as members of Congress to have oversight.
We reached out to Border Patrol for more information about the facility, but have not heard back. In a warning from the FBI, the agency says protesters could be prosecuted for attacking officers or impeding on immigration operations. Let's take you back out live here from SkyCal in Compton. You see sheriff's deputies on the move, a couple with those non-lethals up, getting ready. Who's to say what they're about to do, but this is sort of the tense situation that we're continuing to monitor in Compton right now. A line of sheriff's deputies and multiple vehicles just behind them at the intersection there of Alondra and Atlantic. We'll keep an eye on that as the evening progresses. Of course, stay with KCAL News for developments on these protests and immigration raids across Southern California. We'll have a live update for you in just about 20 minutes at 6:30.
And so, peoples, it is time for each and every one of you to wake up and smell the coffee. It is time for you to get engaged. It is time for you to share and like this video, even though you may not subscribe, that's fine, but share and like this video and tell the people, because everybody needs to be aware as to what's going on. I tried my best, peoples, to try to show you exactly what's happening in California, because this is all I've seen that comes across my screen today and things, and it just really hurt my heart to see that. But what's happening here can happen in your backyard. And as you can see, only a certain race is being targeted in things, you know. But don't think that you're going to escape things, because any and everything that happens in this world is always going to come back and is going to affect you in some way, shape, form, or another. And so this is why you must be aware, peoples, as to all of the things that is happening. We need to watch, we need to fight, and we need to pray. And when we do that, peoples, we can make a difference. I've already quoted you the scripture. Peoples. And let me see if I can call that up. And with that, I'm going to end this live, peoples, because we're already at the 3:30 mark, 3 hours and 38 minutes. And I think we did good on tonight. Okay. And so let's go ahead and let me go ahead and go to this Bible verse here, peoples. Okay, and we're going to hit it with that right there. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to share this screen right here, peoples. Okay. So let me share this screen, peoples, and then we're going to get out of here. 2 Chronicles chapter 7. And we're going to start off with verse 13. And I think that you can pretty much see that clear as daylight, peoples. I think you can see that clear as daylight. And so if not, let me see if I can enlarge this even more so. I think you can see it that way. Okay. Verse 13, it clearly says right here. It says, if I shut up heaven, that there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or if I send pestilence amongst my people. That's what the Lord says. He said, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and will heal their land. May the Lord have a blessing to the readings, hearers, and doers of his holy and divine word, peoples. That is what I wanted to leave with you, for you, and not against you. So, peoples, I hope I had said something to encourage your hearts upon tonight. Tune in again next time to when Edward Joseph Let's Talk Live, Edward Joseph Kitchen, Edward Joseph Gospel Hour, Edward Joseph's Blessings Giveaway 2025 will come to you with something wonderful. I love you with the love of Christ, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Peoples, mask up and be safe. And again, peoples, share and like this live. Stay aware of your surroundings, because it's only about to get worse. watch, fight, and most importantly, pray before you end your day. You guys be safe. And if the Lord says the same, peoples, I will see you guys soon. Be blessed and get your rest. God bless you all. Thank you for watching.